What is up, everybody? Welcome to Friday Night AV. Thanks so much for joining me. If you guys didn't just catch the episode, Kate and I went on live for about an hour, hung out, chatted with everybody. But I'd like to welcome you to episode 16 of Friday Night AV. Got some special guests lined up. Dunn from Audioholics and also Brian from Ace of Base Home Theater will be joining me this evening. I just wanted to take a second, welcome everybody to the show. Hopefully be hanging out with you guys for an hour or so this evening on a Friday night. Appreciate you guys taking some time out of your busy schedules to hang with us. Got a beautiful cat next to me. So if you're getting a message back, it's her on starring and keyboarding and doing all her duties. She is the head manager in the household. She manages all the head around here, and we certainly appreciate that. So like I said, episode 16, it is March 1st. She's so proud of her titles. So, Colin, man, thanks for joining in. Dunn's in the chat as well, and also you'll be looking at his beautiful face here in a second. General overview of tonight, we're just going to be talking about home theater, media spaces, why do we need them, what's so appealing about them, maybe the pluses and minuses of having a dedicated home theater to having just a media space or a theater living room setup. Also, my buddy Brian from Ace of Base Home Theaters just fired up his channel. We've been doing our channel for about 5 months. I think he's been going at it for about 3. So we're both certainly new to the game. So without further ado, let me welcome my guest, Dunn from Audioholics. What is up, brother?
Oh, hi. Touching up my makeup.
And also Brian from Ace of Base Home Theater. Thanks for joining me tonight, fellas.
All the time.
Oh my God.
Now we're gonna get hit with a copyright. All right, let's
killing
me. So Don, what were you just doing there? Are you still doing those face shots for the model magazine?
Well, yeah.
Oh
So I'm the lead dancer at a full-figured male exotic dance troupe called Chunkendales. I'm just practicing my pose before I go on stage.
Oh, what? You're going on stage tonight?
Bitches love dad bod. No, it's Saturday. We got a full show.
I was gonna say I didn't think the Legion was open on Friday, but Saturday makes more sense. So
I'm gonna see Dune 2 tomorrow. I'm stoked.
I haven't even watched the first one. I got it. I haven't watched it.
All right, I'm out.
You haven't watched the first one?
It's still in the wrapper, man. I haven't watched it yet. I gotta wait till I get the rest of my subs.
That's like crazy demo material right there, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I got the demo part on the Zapiti. I've shown it to people.
Oh, okay. Well, you have the demo, so that's
Zapiti? I love Italian food.
So for the new people or the people on the channel, Brian, Ace of Base Home Theater, if you haven't checked out his channel, he fired up his channel a couple months ago too. We are both kind of going through this whole YouTube channel together. It's certainly a strange way of life. Don's been doing this since what was it, 1880, 1890s, Don?
1876.
Yeah. Well, was it 76? Yeah.
Borderline 77, but we weren't.
Yeah. According to the markings on the wall, I couldn't tell in the cave.
Tatonka.
So before we get into the conversation for this evening, Brian, for the people that you haven't been introduced to yet or haven't talked to yet, you just want to give a quick overview on, your channel where you're kind of taking it, like are you doing reviews or room tours or visiting audio events? Just kind of give people just a little thought process of where you plan on taking your channel. I mean, we all kind of have our little angles we're working on, and
the plan is I have a couple. I wouldn't say they're close. Maybe like in a 2-hour radius, about 3 guys that I can go to their house and do a room tours. So that's in the plans. Up where I'm at, I think it's about 2 hours away. There's a place called Worldwide Stereo, which they sell. I mean, they sell everything. There's stuff on their website that says C price in store. That's how you know you probably can't afford it. So I'm in the works of calling them and say, can I come there and do a YouTube video and look at like all the high end? They have Perlis and they have Macintosh, all that good stuff. I have the GSG videos for my new subs coming up. I did a bunch of content on that today. I'd like to get some stuff in for reviews. That's a future plan. Once I think I'm going to have to get to like 1,000 subscribers for that. I think I'm at a whole whopping 260 right now. But like you said, it takes time. And I have to do more content, but just basically, goal for me is to just bring something to the community. Just let people know you don't have to have $1 million home theater to enjoy. You could have $10,000 home theater, and I let it get to me sometimes on Facebook groups, but I think that's a big problem with a lot of these guys that couldn't spend $100,000. They're afraid to even post their stuff on Facebook groups because they're going to get made fun of. And I hate seeing that because it sucks. It's like, just leave the dude alone. If he posts his stuff, corrective criticism is fine, but hating and bashing, I'm just tired of seeing that stuff.
You're
So
out doing battle, bro, dude. You're like,
I fire back.
Bow. What?
Yeah, I fire back, but I need to stop. It's
Yes,
just
you do.
sometimes I'll be sitting here and I'm like,
if I did that, let me tell you, because I know how many people hate my hillbilly ass. If I did that, dude, I would have to have major therapy. You know, if you listen to other people.
Sometimes I'll just message Scott and he'll be like, "Don't worry about it." And I'm like, "Cool, I'm not."
Dude, you can't. Everybody's got some dumb shit to say, and 98% of them don't know their ass from a hole in the ground when they talk about technology and home theaters.
Yeah,
that's just the truth.
I'm growing thicker skin now. It's not that I had thin skin. I just I don't take. I don't want to cuss on here. I don't take crap, so I kind of let my. I just let it fly.
Me.
And I need to stop. I need to stop the. What'd you say? I just got to chill with it because it never ends.
You ever seen Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, where they get all that money and then they flew to everybody online, kicking their ass in their door? You do that.
What I found, especially when I first started, I've been in the theater game pretty much my whole life, is this. Yeah. The problem is you hold it so near and dear to your heart, and then when you put it out publicly and people want to be negative about it, I mean, it's like, hey man, I spent a lot of money, I worked my ass off, I've spent a lot of time in it, and then there's definitely a fine line between just being a prick and just be like, oh hey, that doesn't make any sense to me, why did you do that? And then you could at least have a chance to explain yourself, because we do kind of put ourselves out there. I mean, Don puts himself out there with work that he does, we put ourselves out there with the rooms that we build, so you're putting your babies out there, and it sucks when people just want to be shitty about it.
Well, like for example, I just made a few posts about the new subs, and now I'm getting what I know Scott's gotten multiple times. That's just stupid. Who needs that many subwoofers in a room that size? And I'm just like, I don't even know how to respond.
Awesome, you plebe. You
I mean, they have to drown out everything, and I think people are under the misconception of properly calibrated systems. The source materials, the bass is not going to overpower it. Now, if you go to all your amps and full send the gain and crank the shit up in the mini DSP, it's going to overpower it, but properly calibrate it. I mean, I'm sure Scott could crank all his subs up and overpower his speakers if he wanted to. If he didn't, if you didn't tune it and you just put all the subs on full send, so people don't understand. Like, I have 2 10s and it shakes my whole house, and I'm like, great. 2 10s won't shake my whole house, but I get where Scott was coming from.
Yeah, but you can't be caught in the whole. And I don't think you're this guy. You just can't be caught in the elite. I mean, dude, my system in my family room is a monster. But when somebody's like, "Oh, I got 2 SVS," I'm like, "Cool, dude, that's awesome." I mean, we all started that way.
Yeah,
that's great.
And everybody takes a different path, and everybody has a different angle, because at the end of the day, a lot of us have a lot of different hobbies as well too. Home theater just takes a slice of our time, slice of our budget, and there's other stuff going on. Like, I know Brian gets into car shows and stuff. Don gets into firearms and stuff. I get into gambling and strip clubs and stuff. So, I mean, we all have hobbies.
I like porn too. So
that's free.
Yeah, a lot of that you can get for free, especially if you're making
free. Yeah.
Oh, Don is asking the name of Ace of Base YouTube. I believe it is Ace of Base HT, correct?
Right, yeah, Brian? Ace of Base HT.
But you're probably going to get a bunch of music videos.
Yeah, but that's spelled different. It's BASE. So I think
you can't take it serious, dude. Listen, my full-time job, every morning I get up at 6, work out, do this and that. By 7:30, I'm designing systems for people, audio, video, and I've been doing it for 30 plus years. And then when I get done, I'm reviewing speakers or watching my home theater. It's kind of my life. Like, it is
that's
that.
like when the
And
tweeters blew, my wife was like, "Oh, well, whatever." I was like, and
I
she
knew that
gets
was
it.
going to happen, dude.
This is my pride and joy.
Mhm.
So I'm crazy pissed off and super upset right
Well,
now.
don't be,
And
dude.
I mean, it'll get fixed. But I was like, imagine you went out to your car and the air ride was broke and you couldn't lift your car up and that something fell in the hood. There's a big ass dent in it. She'd lose her mind. So it'd be the end of the world, just like my
Yeah.
tweeters blew. And for the first couple hours, it was the end of the world before I came home here. I was just like,
But we had an off-camera conversation. If you're going to do big giant subs in a high output theater in a relatively good sized space, or you're going to play it really loud, you have to have at least LCRs, and preferably a lot of the speakers, but LCRs have to be able to keep up with it. You're never going to achieve those SPLs. And I'm talking 110, 115 dBs and maybe even inebriated a little higher with anything with a 1-inch dome tweeter. And people argue with that all they want. It's a science. I mean, one of my best friends,
that's true.
Dr. Matthew Pose, is one of the top 5 probably guys in the planet. And you have to have a compression driver, horn driver, or a large AMT, something preferably with a waveguide, or an array of tweeters like an M&K, where you have multiple tweeters, or a per listen, especially where that sound is that powers and that frequency range is spread out over multiple drivers. That's just the science of it. I mean, you can still play loud with anything with a 1-inch tweeter. It's like when I look at all these speakers that come out with these flagship models, $150,000 plus, and they got 10s and 6.5s and 12s or 15s or whatever than a 1-inch tweeter. You're going to be limited by the output of the 1-inch tweeter. That's just.
But in my defense, as you said, we got a little too lit and I went too far. At 99% of the time, 99% of the time, my max volume, and I'm not even bullshitting, is -20, and it's crazy loud, and that's as much as I need. But the one time, I'm like,
alcohol suppresses it, dude. When you,
oh yeah,
I've heard from a friend. I don't know personally, but I've heard that when you got a really good buzz, or you're even shit faced, that when you crank it really loud, it doesn't seem as loud as it normally would be. I mean,
and I think that's what happened. Like,
well, it's totally what happened.
Was that really just friend named Don?
How'd you know?
But now I know.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know, and I'm gonna go on the anthem. I'm gonna put a limiter on it at -10.
Well, I kind of told you that from the get-go. You're only gonna reach so many SPLs.
I believe I was so drunk I went to +5. So that's probably why the shit blew up.
+5.
Saying,
+5 on mine is insanity level, and I don't even want to know what Scott's is. I mean,
and Steve knows. Steve knows. He's like, "Well, I know what you did. I saw the YouTube video of those subs just freaking flapping." He's like, "That was not on -18." So I'm paying for the tweeters. It's fine.
Tech, my man.
I didn't get the warranty, which I don't blame him. I'm paying for the tweeters, but I think I'm gonna do like Scott did in the past. I'm gonna tell him to send me 8, just in case I blow them again. I could just take it apart, pop another one.
Just upgrade your LCRs, you'll be fine, dude.
It's when
me and Brian first started talking and he was expanding his system, going in bigger subs than that, I said, well, probably with those 221s you're going to be fine. But he added 4. Now he's talking about doing 6 or 8, and I think that'll that's probably going to end up being an issue.
Snowball effect.
Or add a couple 18s or a couple 15s, or something.
Well, the plan was 4 more 18s on top the 421s.
No, I would just stay with all 21s.
Kind of what I'm thinking. Just stay with all the same drivers,
and all the same box tunes. It'll be easier to tune. Everything will react pretty much the same.
Those are ported too, right?
What is it?
Those are ported subs you got, right?
Yeah, the ones in the rear, they're all ported. Yeah.
Yeah. What's I believe those are those are 15 hertz port tune. I'm not.
The one in the back is 13 in room, and the fronts are 15 in room. So I don't know what that translates into altogether. Maybe.
Yeah, they're close enough. Yeah.
You're probably going to want some LCRs or towers that'll play a little lower to play those very because 21s are great, but on the mid bass frequencies they're a little slow. That's just the reality of the science. So you
don't
might
know
want
about-
to get something that, dude, they just, I mean, maybe get a tower that blends with them a little bit more, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're going from this to that, you know what I mean? So something that comes on those higher mid bass frequencies a little bit.
I mean,
you know what
I had the PB16s and people swear by them. These are, I've had them, so I know these are so much cleaner.
Well, they're
and hit
apples
so
and oranges,
much-
dude.
Yeah,
Apples
I mean,
and oranges.
the bass is just so, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just super clean. It hits
You don't
super,
have to explain to us, brother.
yeah, nothing sloppy. I mean, it's for me because it's new to me. I've never had subs this big. It's just a whole different experience, and that's what people are like. Well, they're huge. They got to be crazy loud, and I'm like, it's the type of bass, and it's like SVS would hit you in,
Like
SVS would hit you in your knees.
Kat says you got to explain it like she does. She's getting penetrated from both sides.
Yeah. It's like this now, like pressing.
Hey,
on
Kat,
you
I love
versus-
you. If anything ever happens to Scott, I got you, girl.
All right, I'm holding you to it.
Oh,
Now
you can.
Scott's will just smash your head in. Mine is kind of nicely pressing on your body, pushing in. Versus like the SVS subs, it was kind of like you felt it in your feet. These you kind of feel.
It's all about how you calibrate it. Big subs don't mean
Oh, yeah.
big floppy. Yes, they will play loud, but the reality is, somebody told me this years ago. And they said a really good home theater will make the walls disappear, make the ceiling disappear, and completely immerse you in the movie. And that means when there's thunder or an explosion or any kind of deep sound, that it's just everywhere. And putting rear subs, Scott, tell me how much better your system was when you put rear subs in.
Well, yeah, I've had near fill subs for like the last 10 years.
Hmm?
It's nice because you get that that crazy impact.
Mhm.
You're not driving the woofers as hard, and
Yep.
when it's all calibrated, you can't tell where the bass is coming from. But it just that sense.
It's like nature when you're outside and there's a thunder, and it rattles your windows. It's everywhere. It's just it's earthly sound. It's gigantic sound, and that's what you're trying to achieve. So you can have, I was at CEDIA and they had a room with like 16 21s and 232s, and it wasn't just loud. I mean, it was just natural, overwhelming sound like you would hear in the real world. So there's a big misconception that just because you got big subs, they're not going to be accurate. That's just not true at all.
And
the
he
more
just
you have-
explained it perfectly. You just explained it perfectly because that's basically
what
what
it is.
happens to me.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, if thunder happens, the speakers in the ceiling are not putting out a lot of bass, but when the thunder hits, it's like the bass.
It's natural. It's natural. So I've got 418s, like Scott's got in his living room, and I got 412s, and I got a 21 coming, and the 21s for more of the blend of the infrasonic frequencies coming in. Probably use
What 21 are you getting, an
the
RBH?
RBH, dude. The RBH, that RBH 21 is a giant killer, dude. It is phenomenal. The driver that they use on that thing, that he had, this bespoke driver they had custom built for him with the neodymium magnets, is just unbelievable. So I'm going to use that and reinforce my infrasonic frequencies. Not that my poor rental home is already on cracking the dry. I literally cracked my drywall with 4 Jeff subs. So, and I'm not doing it to make it louder. I'm doing it to make it realistic. When you're watching a submarine movie and the submarine goes boom, 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 you want that to sound natural, dude. You don't want to be able to isolate your subs. You want them in the front, you want them in the back, you want them on the sides. I mean, you want multiple subs. Multi-sub is, and that's for everybody out there. I don't care if you got 8s or 10s or 12s or whatever. Multi-sub is where it's at, and it makes a tremendous difference.
Mhm.
We got an important question for you, Don, just because you're kind of the master of the situation. Ike from Easy HT Tech, he wants to know, he thought that was the mushrooms making the walls disappear in his theater room. So
Dude, shrooms are awesome, dude. Yeah.
No.
You know what's
right
cool? Let me tell you what's cool watching the Super Bowl on shrooms. You talk about sensory overload.
Wow. No.
So
I've never done any of that. So I can't.
Sir, you are missing the curve, brother.
Hey, Mike, how does that submarine go again, real quick?
Fire torpedoes, just like that.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Oh, Horizon. Yeah, the RBH, man, you're gonna dig it, dude. Look, man, there's no one best speaker. The people buy based on the opinions of others, thank God, but fiercely defend their purchase no matter what, even faced with science. So everybody wants to say they got the best speaker. There's so many good speakers per listen. RBH, JTR, some of the JBL synthesis stuff is amazing. Higher output, type systems. You gotta look at the design of your speaker. You're always going to be limited, and I don't give a shit what anybody says because it's just science. You're always going to be limited if you have a speaker with a 1-inch dome tweeter. It's always going to compress when you get up to ultra high volumes. That's why all your speakers designed for larger venues have compression horn drivers, large ribbon drivers, or multiple tweeters to distribute that sound, kind of like a per listen does. The per listen S7Ts will play like 120 dBs continuous, like in a decent sized tower.
Yeah, for how much? Though?
4, 6.5. Well, we didn't talk price. We're just talking about capability. M&K. I used to have for years when I did theaters. I did the little M&K SS150s, and whatever the model is now. They use 3 tweeters and 2 5.25s to play above 80 hertz. They used that it was for controlled dispersion to meet THX specs, but really for power handling and dynamics. Almost all your THX speakers would have multiple tweeters built into them. Or some kind of small mid ranges like Snell used to have to achieve those sound levels. And it not a knock. I mean, I've got 4 systems in my house, and I've got Focal Canton #2 full surround system in my bedroom, and it plays loud as shit, loud as AF. But then I go out and listen to my big system with the big giant RBHs, and I mean it's just thunder, dude. You know what I mean? It's just overwhelming. So, and it's no fault of yours, Brian. You got a hell of a system, dude. You just need to upgrade your LCRs, dude. That's all you really need, bro.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Well, it's not. Listen, dude. Stop beating yourself up, man.
I don't think it's unfortunately. It's just that you're creating such a bottom end monster that it's almost like when you ask, "Hey, did that guy skip leg day?" You got all this muscle up top,
Yeah.
I mean, because honestly, if you're thinking of running 6 or 8 21s off of multiple speaker power amps, I mean, you're gonna need some mid range.
It's like a bodybuilder who skips leg day with shorts on.
That's what I just said. Don, stop taking my shit.
Did you?
Yeah, he did.
There's your mushrooms kicking in again.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Oh, hey, this I gotta address. Hey, Chuck, man, Kat was scrolling through the comments. You're in Algonquin, man. I'm like an hour south. You're looking for home theater people in your area. Reach out to me, man, on our podcast Facebook page, or shoot me a message. I do multiple get-togethers throughout the year. If you want to get together, I do smaller events where I have like 2, 4, 6 guys out once every month or 2, and then I do a big event once or twice a year. So certainly reach out, Chuck, and I can get you included. Our next get-together, unfortunately, we're completely booked, but sometime probably in late April, early May. No, I'm sorry, late April, maybe like middle April, late April, I could get you over. I got 2 guys coming at the end of April. So if you want to be included on that, Chuck, just shoot me a message, man. Always looking for new guys to hang out with. Talk.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem when you're in home theaters. Find somebody that's into it to hang out with locally.
Not here.
Well, it's most any place because most people's idea of a home theater is a Sonos soundbar.
Yeah, true. That's third.
And they love it. They're like, "Oh my god, it sounds amazing!" Like, bitch, please.
But Don, going like just for the sake of talking about, if he wants to play with all triad stuff, I mean the golds to the silvers. I mean, what are you looking like? 3 dB more in output capability? I'm not super familiar with triad.
It's going to play lower because it has 2 8s, like a 4-inch or 5 1/4 and a 1-inch tweeter. I mean, really, the sauce comes when you get up to the platinums, man. That's the with the
no, not here.
I'm just saying.
If I'll do the JTR 210s before I buy those. Platinums are crazy, dumb, expensive.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
insane.
the JTRs are no joke. Jeff makes it help. If you saw the crossovers, I went to Jeff's house / his factory where he builds them. Jeff's a good friend of mine. He's a good friend of Scott's. Dude, his crossovers are like, it's like looking at the Pro Listen crossovers. It's just like work of art, dude.
The crossover in my surrounds through the JTR. I mean, you hold in both hands.
Yeah,
and that's just for that single 10 surround. It pretty much goes from top to bottom in the back of that cabinet. I couldn't believe how large.
I'm telling you, dude. They may not look like much, but they got it where it counts.
But honestly, at this point, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, eventually, it's not going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to fix the tweeters and
tomorrow's Saturday.
try it.
You probably wait till Monday to order.
Yeah,
I know you too well now, Brian. This guy tells me,
Brian, I've seen your toys. Let me tell you something about Brian. That guy does not mess around with anything. When he dives into something, that bitch goes head first, dude. He is all in. Trust me.
Maybe some JBLs. I don't know. I'm tossing around.
Well, bringing up a good thing about soundbars, James, definitely. And we're not knocking people that use them or that have them. We actually have soundbars in a couple rooms too.
I got one in my bedroom.
Yeah,
I'm out.
You're out of what minutes? Is your internet running out?
I'm looking for the tab to get out of here.
Here, let me Venmo you $8 to keep you on for another 30 minutes.
Not what I make on this. You said you're going to start review. You want to start reviewing speakers, dude. Let me tell you, that's not as easy as it sounds.
Oh no, I can imagine.
You gotta take a speaker, carefully unbox it, have a place to put it, and what I do is I always review my speakers in multiple systems for different aspects. And you got to listen. You got to take notes. Then you got to sit down at a computer and write a legitimate write-up on it or do a legitimate video on it. And there's so many good speakers that sound really good. What I do is I take a $16,000 pair of speakers and I move them. I put whatever I'm reviewing, and then I put another speaker in and I play the same material over and over so I can really hear the differences. And I move them to a different room and I do the same thing because speakers all sound different in different rooms. That's what these people, none of these people talk about. Guys review speakers in their one spot that they always listen to and they know, how it reacts. You got to move them closer to the wall. You got to move them out from the wall. Some speakers sound great close to the wall. Some speakers sound terrible. Some speakers sound better, when they're a foot away. There's a lot that goes into it. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I hope you do it because it's great getting new stuff and unboxing, speakers we usually can't afford. But I'm telling you that there's a lot that goes in if you care. If you just write in fluff like some people do, that's fine. But
I have to write. I don't want to have to write.
Well, you do a video. I mean, you produce a
video.
I
don't. If we're getting into
writing, I write reviews on them. So
I'm not.
Don wants you to type and mail him a letter of the review of that speaker in cursive.
No, I don't want cursive. Wait, what year were you born, Brian?
If you have enough to drink, you could probably type in cursive.
75.
Is that Gen X still, or is that?
I don't know. It's Gen Star Wars because Star Wars came out when I was born.
I saw it when I was 8.
I saw it when I was 3.
7.
I don't remember. I saw it when I was 3. I don't remember. 3. When the first Star Wars came out, my mom took me to see it in the movie theater, and I think I was 3 or 4.
Dude, was this a grandpa episode? Well, back in my day,
when I was a boy, we had Star Wars.
Well, how old is Mr. Scott?
I will be 40 in May.
A whole 40?
I got to buy it. My wife just turned 40 last Saturday, and she thought it was the end of the world.
So when I turned 40, my ex-wife rented my favorite Irish pub, invited 50 of my friends, and hired me a black midget in a leprechaun costume. It was you never seen those? I got pictures, and it was the best party ever in the history of parties.
I was lost at the black midget in a leprechaun costume. I didn't want
Samuel Jackson.
I was lost and Don had 50 friends.
I don't even want to know what.
Oh, I had tons of friends, acquaintances anyway. Everybody wants
Sounds like something from Bad Santa. Yeah, like no. Can only imagine.
Oh, sorry.
So James Coleman said something about EQ and school. Some of these folks out here. So I've been doing home theaters since home theaters were a thing, and in fact, that's what really dove me into this business. Is being a huge Star Wars Lucasfilm fan. Saw a THX pamphlet. I'm like, wow, that's what I want to do. But we used to do theaters. I did a lot of M&K, and I did some triad. But back in the day, I did a lot of M&K. And with separates from a company called ADA Audio Design Associates. And we put a piece of equipment between the amp, the preamp, or the AV pre-pro and the amp. It was an audio control Rialto. It was like a 7-channel PEQ graphic, EQ. And we would take an RTA meter. Remember those from car audio days? You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we would measure. And we did acoustic treatments, but we way over dampened the rooms back in the day. And that's how we did theaters. And I always did 2 subs back then. It was before. There's so much more knowledge now in the last 7 to 5 years or whatever. I mean, it's crazy. But we made good sound in theaters. But if we knew what we knew now back then, we could have made them sound a lot better. That's how old I am. I'm using a manual EQ and an RT meter old.
Now for me, like the super expensive stuff is cool, but I don't even know how to phrase this. I like to also include the people that can't spend. I can't spend $50,000 on a set of speakers. Not to come across and give them the impression that if you can't buy per listen, if you can't buy JTR. If you can't buy RBH, that you can't have a home.
RBH is pretty affordable, dude. I mean, but no.
Well, what are the ones you have that are like 17 feet tall and cost like $30,000 a pair?
They're 20. Well, I have the passive version, the RBH SVTRs. They're 20 grand a pair. So, which sounds like a crazy amount of money, but they compare to. I've recently heard $100,000 flagship speakers that they absolutely destroy. But yes, they are expensive. They're expensive, but you have to understand, dude, I've been in business so long. I had systems in the 90s. I had like B&W 803 matrices, and I had this, and I had Snell. So I've always made it a priority in my life to have just, I guess maybe it was an ego thing when I was young, because people come in and I have big giant speakers, and people are like, wow, I'm like, yeah, take me out.
But we also have to keep in mind, what about the people that would ask any of us for advice that only have $20,000 to spend on an entire system?
Work harder.
No, man, you can't say that.
I'm kidding. No, you could do a lot with 20 grand. So a theater, when I would do a full tilt theater back in the day for 60, 70, 80 grand, you can best that, especially in the video side. I mean, you can buy a $2,500 projector now that destroys what we used to charge $80,000 to $100,000 for.
Oh yeah,
that's
the
fact.
then, yeah.
Audio, I would say spend a little more on your audio, but I mean, even clips. Everybody likes to dog clips, but clips is loud. It's dynamic. It's it feels, it looks cool with all the. Hey, that's my boy Joseph.
Yeah, I keep looking around because I have this turned down to like -70 now. And Ready Player One's on. You guys can't hear it, but I keep getting this. I feel like I have bass shakers in the seats right now because of this freaking near field.
I don't like transducers. I hate transducers.
No, I don't have any. I'm saying this near field makes it feel like
if you got good subs, that's what it's supposed to be like. I mean, if you got I know a lot of people like them. I just don't like them. I've never liked them. I think they're artificial.
I can't speak on them because the only ones I ever had were the Aura Pros from
I don't care what
Parts Express with the Dayton amps. Now I sent those to Brandon because I didn't use them anymore, and he dialed them in with his, Flex 8 and all that, and he's like, they're freaking awesome. To me, maybe mine weren't dialed in right, but that's how they felt. Like I could tell they were there, and when they, were shaking, it took me out of the movie, so I would just turn them off. Mine could have possibly not been calibrated correctly because I never really had him address that. I was just like, it's a bass shaker. It's got an amp. It's got a little remote. I mean, I think you kind of have to. I mean, ask Scott. I think you kind of have to be in the seat to do it, don't you? Don't you kind of have to have
Yeah,
your?
I got four of the biggest butt kickers LFEs off of a Speaker Power 6000, and yeah, they take a ton of delay for mine to feel right. But what I like about mine is, as you'll see when you come to the get together, is everybody that comes in, they're like, "Do you have bass checkers?" And people half are like, "No, I don't think he does." The other half, I think he does, but I don't know if they're on. But they're on. You shouldn't be able to tell if you have them or not if they're done correctly.
Do you think though?
Yeah,
I mean, just in your opinion, could you calibrate those remotely, or do you have to be in the seat
No,
and know
I
what
had to
you're?
do it remotely, and Kat can
Yeah.
attest to this. Hours upon hours of watching the same gunshots, the same explosions, adjusting 0.1 millisecond at a time to where it was identically
Oh.
matched. Not, I
And
mean, yeah.
that's what Brandon told me. He's like, take the laptop, sit in the seat, and I was like, don't want them anymore because unless you're coming to my house and doing it for me, I'm not that guy. I tried the mini DSP. I spent did all the YouTube videos, spent like 12 hours one day, trying it, turned it on. I'm like, yeah, it looks great. It sounded worse than when I started. And I was like, I'm going to take this thing, I'm going to throw it out the window, I'm going to get the lawnmower, I'm going to run it over.
That's what you
Oh,
probably
I-
should have done with it, because that's why I feel about transducers.
Well, no, I'm talking about the mini DSP. Anybody
that?
that can do it themselves, good on you. I build shit all day long. I'm not good with computers. So when it comes to that, I have to have, which I'm glad I met Brandon. Guy's amazing.
Yeah,
And
he's cool.
he tunes it. I can't. I couldn't do it. I give him props for what he does. And you have to have crazy patience and a lot of knowledge for that. And the dude, he knows his stuff. I mean, Scott had him.
Before we get too lost in the comments, Don, have Horizon Home Theater, Don Hensley brought up this earlier. M&K's coming out with some new Dominus rated in-walls to compete with per listen. Are you familiar with those, Don?
I mean, I've seen the announcement.
Okay.
Look, I'm a big Ken Kreisel fan, the guy that was the K
the K and M&K.
Yeah, he was a friend. He was an acquaintance. I wouldn't say friend. We didn't hang out. He was in California. But I used M&K for years. I haven't really played around with their new stuff, but I heard their new stuff's pretty kick butt. And they've always made a phenomenal speaker. Anything that's Dominus rated is going to have a high standard. I mean, Kef's got some new architectural stuff that's Dominus rated. Per listen paved that path. You have to reach certain output levels. Now, one thing, I don't know how Kef does it, but they achieve those levels with the 1-inch tweeter. But yeah, I'm a big.
But in Kef like that.
It's a coaxial type driver.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's still a 1-inch tweeter inside of there.
Yeah. But they probably do some crossover tricks and whatnot. I mean, listen, per listen, dude. You guys have never heard it. I mean, I just was at Matt Pose's house last week, and he's got the same subs I do. Really, he's got 4 RTJ 18s and 2 dual RBH dual 12s, which really equal the output of an 18 comfortably. Yeah, it's phenomenal with the he's got a full per listen setup. It's amazing. It's really good.
That's a speaker that's untouchable for a lot of people. I mean,
well, they make them more affordable. Dude, listen, you can't go out and buy a supercar for $12,000.
Man, I'm not buying a supercar, but yeah.
No,
I mean,
but I'm saying,
yeah.
What avenue and arena we're going to play in? We're talking about home theater. We're going to talk about what kicks ass and what's a supercar. Or are we going to talk about how we can approach that performance somewhat? But there's a reason a lot of these there's a lot of overpriced speakers out there, but there's a reason why a lot of these speakers cost so much money. Really, you just got to make the right choice. Something like a JTR. I think JTR is a very great value for the amount of output once you get, and for a compression horn, I think they sound phenomenal. I love what Jeff puts out there. You're just not gonna you're not gonna have a theater that just crushes your skull in that lower end price range. It's just not possible, dude. Even if you DIY yourself, You know, a
Mhm.
lot of these, like RB. Let me give you an example. RBH, we did I can't really talk about it because I'm under NDA and the TV show's coming out, but I did a theater in the largest house ever built in America. And it's a monster theater. And RBH did all bespoke speakers that are active for that system. And when I mean active, there's an amp channel for each tweeter, and there's an amp channel for each set of mid-ranges in the theater. And all the crossovers are done digitally in $80,000 Trinov. And when I say 80,000, I mean the Altitude 32 with the 32-inch module to it. And they built some 21s and this and that. And it's amazing. But you can get near that performance for less, for sure. But it's still going to cost you, dude. You have to pay to play.
Yeah, I can honestly sit here and tell you 1,000% I will never have an $80,000 truck.
No, I get it. Me either. Then I saw a dude the other day on
not hating on somebody that can afford it, but I'm not
I
going
got a
to
guy.
anybody.
I saw a guy on Facebook who bought a bunch of old JBL actual movie theater speakers, and that's fine if you're just looking for SPLs. But I mean, I don't. Movie theater speakers don't sound all that great to me. I mean, they're just designed for high output.
And they're probably huge, aren't they?
Oh, surrounds with that. I mean,
ginormous. Yeah.
I use
proud
all
of it, and he's
money to
cool.
buy
He's
my
proud of
stuff.
it.
So that's
What?
what I suggest. Use your wife's or your girlfriend's money to buy all your stuff, and save your money for something more practical.
The head of the table.
That'd be good.
Yeah, the head manager.
The head master in chief.
Yeah, she holds that title very proudly. I'm so proud of her.
Neil and Bob.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'd love to have per listen, but it's just not in my bank account. That
Dude, you
stuff
got
is-
$200,000 in 2 show cars. Come on.
I don't have anything.
What?
I mean, yeah, I guess if I took the show car money and put it into home theater, I can't say shit.
Yeah, but
I had to
how
balance.
often do you use the show cars versus how often you use the home theater? So I tell all my clients that. They're like, "Oh my God, $200,000." I'm like, "Well, sir, you rolled up in a $120,000 Mercedes. How long are you going to keep that?" Right?
All spring.
I took the bus everywhere.
If I do a system for you, you're going to enjoy the system for 10 to 20 years with minor upgrades. It's about what your priorities are. To me, I love home theater. I listen to music every day. I love it. It's my life. And to me,
I love it too.
It's worth it. It's worth the investment because I use it every single day, all the time, and it brings me tremendous joy. And spend your money on things that bring you joy.
I won't lie. In the spring and summer, we're doing more with the cars than we are the home theater. So it's kind of like a fine balance. I mean, I got
that's cool.
Killer system in my car. I like driving around, listening to music, and we do like 50, 60 shows a year, and we're detailing them all the time. We're outside.
You do a show a week?
We do sometimes we do four on a weekend, but you got to remember spring, summer, and fall. In the fall, we do indoor shows. So yeah, we probably do about 50 a year.
Why do you do it?
Meet people, talk to people, look at cars.
It brings you joy. It brings you joy.
Yeah. I like talking to people and having the kids come up to the cars and be like, "Oh, can I sit in the car?" And dude, some of these guys, like with the supercars, they ain't letting no kid sit. I let a kid sit in my car because they're like, "Oh," because my wife's car is Poison Ivy, my car is Jack Skellington themed. Kids love it. They're like, "Oh, can I sit in the car?"
Dude, I've seen your car.
She lets amazing. Kids sit in her car and rev the engine, and if somebody can't enjoy what you built, what did you build it for?
If I sold the contents of my gun safe, I could buy a badass car. You know what I mean?
I bet you could.
You get what you enjoy. What you enjoy. I shoot a lot. I'm an instructor, so that's important to me. So therefore, I have invested my treasure in that. The home theater.
I have a couple people in my neighborhood that I work for.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? It's about what brings you joy. And when I sit down all the time, even though I've had it for years, and I've probably had 100 different systems, and I'm not exaggerating. Over the years, being in the businesses, almost as long as Scott and you have been alive. It sucks.
Great, my Lord!
But that brings me sitting down and just looking at just the system. or bringing friends over. I'm like, dude, you got to come over and check my system out, and sitting somebody next to me. And Scott knows exactly what I'm talking about. And we'll watching the look on their face where like, it's like a ride at Disney World, dude. I mean, a badass system is a amusement park ride, right?
Oh, definitely. And it's funny, Don, that you this is kind of like a very easy segue that we're starting out the show 46 minutes in about of the topic for tonight was home theater, media center rooms, family rooms.
Yeah.
And when you said that you listen to music all the time, that was the whole reason that we churned the family room with
Yeah,
the RPJs. We use it every day because I'm going to tell you the mistake, and this goes with the title of tonight's episode, is the mistake that I made of building my own theater. The for me, the pluses are everything gets to go exactly where it needs to be. Nothing ever gets touched in there. It's dialed in perfect all the time, always ready for demos, set up amazing, but it never gets used. Where in my last house, well, actually, our
See?
last two systems got used every day in the family rooms and in the living rooms.
Thank
And
you.
the RTJs get used every day. Now the theater, you go in there right now, the floor is vacuum, everything's wiped down, demos are loaded. We'd be up and running in no time, and you'll get a great experience. But I literally sometimes go 2 weeks and I don't even step it. I went in there today to vacuum the floor.
So
Yeah.
my house, I've got, and I'm in a rental right now because recently split up with my wife a couple years ago, and my girlfriend, who we just did a podcast with her on with Shane Lee.
Shane Lee, I saw it.
Yeah, talking about how we live, and we watch movies. It's not we're couch potatoes. We're active. We work out. We do different things. But when I sit down to watch it, I love it. So we'll watch a movie or we'll binge TV series. We'll stop it and we'll go into the bedroom. And now I got most people's dream system in my bedroom. I got, $11,000 front speakers and $4,000 center and separates. And I go in the bedroom and it's a little bit different sound, but it still sounds amazing in its own way. I just love that. Or I'll go in what I used to have as a dining room. I turn my table sideways, put equipment on it. And now I have a 2-channel setup and I use that for testing. Or in my office where I'm sitting right now, my studio or whatever you call it, I've got $3,500 powered monitors I just did a review of and a $1,800 sub. And I love it, dude. I love having multiple. I love always having good audio wherever I go. And that's just my thing. And if you don't get it, it's cool. I don't care. But, I think most people here get it and they enjoy it. I mean, really good equipment is just a window into the sound or the experience. I'm really all about the media, making playlists, watching movies, the best that I can. And I think that's important. Now, kind of the theme was, should you have a theater? Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, every high-end home that we did had a theater. It was a thing. And over a period of time, what we found out is that theaters were kind of a destination location. Most people that had theaters didn't use them a whole lot unless they were huge movie buffs. That's the truth. Or they were in an isolated room upstairs or over a garage. So that transitioned into a trend to do media rooms, which were like a space where you had a bar and a pool table or whatever, and then a surround system on it in some capacity. And now theaters are coming back in vogue to a point, but not like they used to be. Really, the market that we cater to, us here on the stream are enthusiasts. The average person just doesn't care that much.
Nope.
That's the sad reality.
And like Scott was saying about a theater room, a family room. I battled when I bought this house 2 years ago. Me and my wife talked about it, battled back and forth. She's like, do you want to build a room in the basement? I was like, well, I'm thinking about it. And she's like, well, what's going to happen if you build a room? And she knows me. She's like, you're going to go down there like maybe once a week, sometimes maybe twice a month. If you put it in the family room, because she let me, she basically is like, have at it. Just don't make it crazy dumb looking. Do it with taste. I use this every single day when I get home from work. I watch at least a movie every night. If I had it in the I'm not hating on anybody that has it in a basement, But if I had it in the basement, I promise you, I would not go down there every day and use it. So for me, I invested my money into using it every day. And if that makes sense, I'm sure that makes sense to a lot of
It's in a
people.
spot in your house that you'll use it every day, like mine.
Yeah, but now, would it be cool if I could have both? Theater room in the basement, theater room up here? It's not feasible for me right now. I just bought the house 2 years ago. Like Don was saying, I have the cars. So I have hobbies to balance. And
that's cool.
Yeah. But if I took all that away, as you stated, I could have, if I didn't do the cars, I could have Perlis and everything and D15s in every corner. Just, you got to choose your thing.
That's a badass sub, by the way.
I can imagine.
It's a really, really good sub.
I mean, 4 of those are going to cost you $40K. So
Chuck's asking. He knows I'm in Chicagoland. He's asking, Brian, you're from Pennsylvania. I don't know exactly what town.
Yeah, I'm in Hanover, Pennsylvania, so I'm about 2 hours out of Philly.
And Don's in Florida. Well, you're around like the Tampa area. That's right. So
represent.
Yeah, I know. I looked for when I come down there to visit you, Don. I'm going to stay at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino.
Well, you can stay. Oh yeah, dude, the Seminoles are great. I told you guys to come down. I told you I got you.
Scott, there's no casino here close by, so we would have to drive about. We'd have to drive about.
Dice out in your driveway.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, me and Kat had a beautiful trip through Pennsylvania. On our way to New York, we stopped at this bowling alley that they made us keep our own score with old crayons and notebook paper. They're like, we don't have any digital scoreboards here. You guys just take this paper. Oh yeah, and the movie. Yeah, the movie theater was full of Pioneer 12-inch house speakers everywhere.
What the hell part of PA were you in? Were you in like Amish country?
Man, I don't know. I was like, there was so many Pioneer 12-inch $99 speakers everywhere, man. It was insane.
You guys, Scott, we need to get my boy Joe from Scythonics. If I said that right, Joe.
Lancaster.
Joe came down. He's in Canada. Joseph, you know Joseph.
Yeah. I've chatted with him.
Phenomenal guy. I picked him up at the airport. He stayed with me a couple days. We listened. We had a great time. Super guy. You should see his report he did for Hi-Fi Pig, the audio show. But dude, I love come down and hang out with us, man. I love having especially AV people come over. I have a bunch of factory people come here. I'm friends with a bunch of manufacturers. I mean, Jeff and his family stayed at my house a couple times with the kids, and we love to listen, man.
Somebody come stay at my freaking house. Come on, man. Somebody come up here.
All right. Is there locks on the doors? I mean,
yeah, up here, I could leave the doors open. It wouldn't matter. Nobody coming there. Nobody doing anything up in here.
Come on, Brian.
I mean, if you need locks on the bedroom doors, we got all that.
Lighten up, friends.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to go to the People's Republic of Illinois. I'm a little nervous about that.
You'd love this state because you could just walk into a gun store.
Guns are dangerous, dude.
15 minutes later, just buy a holster, stick it right on your side, and go to Walmart. That's how easy it is here. I'm serious, dude. Like now, open carry is fine, but if you want to conceal carry, you're going to have to take a trip to the sheriff's office and wait about an hour and a half to stick it in your pants and walk out. It's that hard.
I don't care. Guns are dangerous.
Yeah, right. Look at this dude with bazookas and machine guns and Call of Duty outfits. Get out of here. Yeah.
Call of Duty outfit. Is that what it's called now? So I have
dress up. Go throw on that Call of Duty outfit.
So in my family room, I have the biggest
I've seen
gun
pictures of this guy looking like a character from Call of Duty. Like if I see him come around the corner, I'm gonna run as fast as my ass can, zigzagging, so he can't hit me.
That's a wise move. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
So I have the biggest gun safe Liberty makes in my family room because it's the only place I could fit it.
Of course.
But I have acoustic. It's all encased in acoustic treatments. I had to use metal magnets to put my acoustic treatments up.
Needs
Yeah,
like
we
my
could
my
have,
RBHs open up and there's a freaking missile launcher inside. I mean, nothing would surprise me. It's cool.
yeah, Joseph wants to come on with us one night, Don.
Yeah,
should
can we do
set
that,
it
please? Yeah, Joseph is a super great guy, and besides that, he's extremely knowledgeable. He's been in the business a long time. I really love the kid. I'm a kid. He's 40, 42, but I think the world of him, and he's really knowledgeable, and it's just spreading the love, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'll reach out to him and see if he wants to join us on in a couple of weeks, and we can we'll get on here and we'll talk.
Dude.
So Don, when you do build a house, because I know you're thinking about building a house, are you going to do a full blown theater or just like a fancy
Absolutely. So I'm going to do a full theater, and I don't really necessarily like big theaters. Everybody's like worried about multiple rows of seating. I might do something like Gene De La Sala, Audioholics, one of my best friends. His is 20 wide by 25 deep. I might do like 20 deep by like 18 wide, or it doesn't have to be. I like a more intimate space. Yes, I will absolutely do a theater, and just as important to me is I'm going to do a dedicated 2-channel space where I can test and listen. I love multi-channel. In my heart of hearts, I believe multi-channel is the future. If you've ever been a higher level of plane of existence, wink, wink, and listen to Dark Side of the Moon 20th, 25th anniversary, or 50th or whatever anniversary, 50th anniversary. Yeah, I'm forgetting my age. That is a religious experience. I'm telling you, in Atmos.
You're talking about the new Atmos, right?
I just got it.
Dude, in Atmos, that is a
Insane.
religious experience. I had a buddy I went to college with. We pledged the same fraternity. He was in town, and he came over. He's like, "Let's play some Pink Floyd." I'm like, "All right." So I played that first song of that, and like an hour later, we listened to the whole album. Like it's a masterpiece, dude. You have to listen, even though they're a bunch of communist bastards. You have to listen to the album from beginning to end. It's a religious. It's an absolute masterpiece.
The new one in Atmos, right?
Yeah, in Atmos. Yeah, Atmos music's where the only reason I own an Apple TV, the only reason is because I like to listen to music in Atmos.
Some of it's bad though on there, like
well, you're right, because they're just now learning how to record music.
Like some of the speakers sound really weird.
They're starting to teach it.
Yeah.
At Audioholics, we've had some of the best people in the business on. We had Dominique Fils-Aimé, who's now recording in Atmos. We've had some of the we had a guy. Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Yep.
We had a guy who actually mixed the last 3 Star Wars movies. Great soundtrack, terrible movies. But talking about the difference between the theatrical release of an Atmos movie and then the home release, but they're different. I've been told that they're now starting to add front wides into the home consumer release of Atmos. I don't know if that's true, but I know they weren't before. All the Atmos releases that we listened to, the front wides were matrixed, whereas in a theatrical release, the front wides were a separate discrete channel.
Nick, I don't know if Scott's where I'm at. I don't even think I can you fit front wides in your theater, or is it just too?
No, it wouldn't make.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Sure, you can. What do you mean you can't?
They'd be too close together.
Yeah, I don't have proper separation from my front right and my right surrounding it. Me and Mark Seaton and Jeff both went over a few different details when they were both in. It just doesn't make any sense in my space.
Mark Seaton.
Because I'm like 18 deep and 17 wide, and I still can't really. The wides would just be too close to the fronts and the sides.
Man, you need to fly me up there. I'll figure that shit out for you.
Well, I have an opening here, so you'd have to try to incorporate one.
I've seen your room
somehow.
The whole internet's in your room.
No,
the whole internet.
The whole internet.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah. Well, you guys should go.
I was watching Reuters the other day, and I had your theater on. I'm like, what the hell? Hamas, and then
yeah. Jesus. Oh my goodness! But I have posted.
You know how I like you because I'm busting your balls.
He when the first podcast I was ever on was with Fine Dunn and Shane Lee, And he's like, man, just come on. I was like, I don't even know how to do this. He's like, I'll send you an invite as soon as I go on there. Ball busting time. It was Let's Roast Brian's Home Theater. And I'm like,
I'm so happy I did this.
and I'm just sitting here like, okay, all right. And they're just, Don didn't really do it, but Shane Lee went.
Yeah. Well, hi, Brian. Let's roast your theater.
Yeah, he went. I was like,
if the YouTube shit don't work out, he should have like a Asian sex line. What are you wearing?
I was like, what in the hell did I walk into? And he
Shane's
was like,
cool, though. Shane's my boy. He's cool. He just
it was all fun. I knew he wasn't being like hateful or vicious or anything.
No, nobody's being hateful.
No.
I told him if he was hateful that you'd drive up to Connecticut and whoop his ass.
Getting on a
He's
plane.
actually he just bought a new house and he's doing a full tilt theater in there.
Yeah, 32 Ascendo speakers or something like that.
Wow.
You walked out of the room and me and him were talking about it. I'm like,
he takes what he can get.
Yeah, what do you got there? You got 32 Ascendo speakers. You're kind of just
well,
only
RBA is gonna give him a 21 too. The Ascendo stuff's no joke, dude. Ascendo makes some killer speakers, dude. Killer subwoofers.
I'm not gonna lie. The one I would be the most curious to go here is Ryan Carpenter's when his is done.
Yeah, he's going from Martin Logan, probably the worst speaker you can. The Electrostats, probably the worst.
Well, they have to take so much.
I see all these people want to do Electrostat home theaters. I'm like, do you just listen really low? I mean, dude, I love Martin Logan hybrid Electrostats.
They take a lot of power, though.
Well, no, it's not, dude. It's a dispersion, dude, and the dynamics. I would never do a theater. I did a theater years ago with Logans, and it was like they're killer, but I just not my deal. I mean, it sounds amazing at low volumes.
No, there's a place where down where I work called Gramophone. It's like a high-end home theater place.
Gramophone is.
And they have a set of the crazy expensive Electrostack set up with like a Macintosh tube amp and all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, they play some like and a crazy like turntable that costs like $50,000.
Yeah,
they put a record on.
Yeah,
and I'm just like.
Old men with hairy ears listen to.
I mean, it's not something I would
put
buy.
on some Metallica or some techno and see how that shit's.
No, they're not playing no Metallica. They're
Trust me,
like
I've been to Martin Logan's factory, dude.
Playing some like Eagles, Hotel California.
Yeah, all that sounds great on them. I've owned 3 pair of Martin Logan Electrostats over the years and absolutely adore them and love them as long as you're in the middle seat and you're listening to the right kind of music with the right kind of amplification running it.
But this
dude's doing theater, I would never do a theater with the Electrostat.
This dude's doing a 50-inch Ascendo near field, black swans in the front, and I think he's doing.
It's going to be amazing.
2 32s and 4 21s.
Yeah, Ryan's a friend of mine. He's cool.
I would love to go
like
here.
Yeah, Ryan's going to be staying up at my house for a couple nights for Base brings us together, and me and Kate will be going down to his house.
Make sure you can lock the door on the outside.
I take all the door handles off when people come over.
So you can just
I take the doors off when we hang beads.
And steals the earplugs and puts it on full send. And he's like, well, we're going to see if you can die in here.
Hey, let's we'll go through some of the comments real quick. Hey, Chuck says his room is 33 feet wide, so front weights make a difference. Oh, no doubt. I bet it really helps create
33 feet wide?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that a basement?
That is insane.
Or maybe in his castle.
That's a castle room, 33 feet wide.
Man, give me a 33 foot wide.
Part of it all as a place to put your victims. Close it in.
Don Hensley's asking, Don, who do you use to design aesthetics for your theaters? Looking for someone that designs fabric wall designs. Oh, yeah, Don's down in Florida, and he's finishing up his theater, or trying to now, actually.
So usually in my business, we're kind of guided by we work with interior designers on the feel, the theme. You should reach out to Matthew Pose. He's the guy for that, and he's very.
I'm gonna step away to the boys.
Yeah, he's got pee. Yeah, Matthew Pose, the Pose Acoustics, is really great at that. But we use different companies and different. Really depends on what the designer wants to do. we work with Cinematech and a couple other companies to do our theaters, Don.
So when you do your space, Don, you're gonna go with you and Matt both gonna work together for your space.
What's that sound?
I think he took us to the bathroom.
Brian, what are you doing? Jesus, he's getting ice. When I do mine, I'm probably gonna do like a cool theme to it, like probably with Star Wars going on, this and that. I don't know yet. It really depends on what my budget is, because I still have to, I work for a living, so I don't have unlimited funds.
I know the feeling.
Don has an infinite budget.
No, I don't, dude. We heard everything you did. You got
I got some ice.
Your earpods on.
Yeah, I got some ice. I got a beer. There's nothing wrong with that.
We heard you go
put your beer on ice.
Air pressure in your tires.
You put beer on ice? Really? Ugh.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do you really?
It's a Bud Light Platinum. Leave me alone.
Platinum. Does that mean you're really gay?
I mean, you want me? I'll pull out a White Claw if you want me to. That's fine.
Oh, that's.
I'm not embarrassed.
You know what's good? You know what's good is the High Noon. You should check those out.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like vodka and soda, but they got flavors in it.
It's
like a White Claw but for men.
That's funny. That's great.
You guys all fancy. I just drink vodka and water.
Oh, I can't. There it is. Platinum seltzer.
Are they paying you for? Are you paying for that?
No, I'm not.
You got
sponsored.
a sponsorship deal with them, Brian?
I need to. Give me hey, Bud Light Platinum Seltzer. Give me a sponsorship.
It's a bad podcast when I'm the most sober guy here.
I'm fine. How can you get a buzz off of this? Come on. I couldn't do the hard. My wife's birthday party was last weekend. I had enough hard liquor to last me probably over a year. I mean, I woke up the next day and I contemplated just going back to bed and dying. That's how bad the hangover was.
And I don't get hangovers anymore.
No, I envy you.
So I try to stay sober when I do things like doing a stream with Youth Man Michael, out of respect.
Well, yeah.
Because
if you stay sober, you don't blow your tweet.
Yeah, well, Don starts feeling bad if he stops drinking. He's got a reverse hangover. Oh, hey, let's bring this up real quick, Don. Well, now I got two Dons on here. Oh, Don's asking where Brian's from. You sound like you're from my hometown.
Where's your hometown?
I think he's asking where your hometown is.
I'm in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Baltimore, though. That's where I came from.
Really? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I got out of there when I was 9, and my parents moved to.
I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Baltimore was fine back in the day when I was there. I mean, it was you could ride your bike down the street and not get shot.
Don says, "Be more."
There you go. That's what's up. I was in Arbutus up until I was, I think, 9 or 10, and my parents moved into Carroll County, and now I'm in Pennsylvania.
So when you build, Don, are you planning on staying down by Tampa?
I mean, for now, I'm kind of staying here to my youngest daughter's going to turn 17 this month. Now it's March. Yeah, I mean, look, I could go anywhere in the country and write my own ticket. There's some places I really love, like the Nashville area. If you've ever been in the Nashville area, it's absolutely amazing. You got country 20 minutes out, or some of the best restaurants you'll ever eat at, culture, music. My girlfriend's from Denver. I like Colorado. We were just out there at CEDIA. Other than their idiot government, I do like Colorado a lot. Big fan of Montana. I don't know. Probably going to stay here because it's a hot market. Everybody moves to Florida. It's the third most populous state. We have 22 million people now. Everybody brings their money here. So, I do ultra high-end systems, and that's kind of my marketplace. I have to be by a big city that can support what I do.
Dancing?
Oh, I can do that anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start a bar called Coyote Really Ugly.
I want to be the bouncer.
You ever been a Coyote Ugly?
No.
The girls walk around and like dog you out and shit. You know, I'm like, I can get that at home. What are you talking about?
Cat's been there. I haven't been there, but
Yeah, not really my favorite place.
What's your guys' plans for M-Wave Diner? Brian, you are planning on
I'm
going
staying
to
with you, Scott.
correct?
I'm trying. I'm trying to go. I mean, we'll see what happens because we just booked a trip to Costa Rica in October, so that was not
Yeah.
cheap.
You went there with your wife?
I'm going with my wife, yeah,
Oh, sucker.
and a couple friends. We're going with the group is 80. We're not hanging out with them.
80 people?
Yeah, it's because you get the more people get to go, the better rate you get. So we're staying at an all-inclusive. You don't have to take money with you unless you want to have cash to go on like an excursion. And it's 8 days, and I think with airfare and everything, we paid like $4,500.
Yeah.
Which is
Okay.
if you look that price up without 80 people making a discount, you'd probably pay 10 grand. But
A bunch of my friends used to go on a boys' trip there fishing to
I
Costa
bet.
Rica.
Yeah. So we're going. Two of our good friends are going. We're going to hang out with them the whole time. The other group, we'll have to take some stupid group picture at the end of the day, but we're not hanging out with everybody. We're just hanging out with our two good friends. And it's been a long. I haven't been on a vacation since the last time I went to Vegas, because we usually go to Vegas for our anniversary. We went 4 years in a row, and we usually stay for, I don't know how long Scott stayed, but we usually stay for 7 to 8 days. That's
Yeah,
that's a hard. Didn't we stay for 7 the last time?
No.
She said 5, so that's how drunk I was in Vegas. But I'll tell you what, 5 days in Vegas is hard on your body.
yeah. I
Yeah.
I usually go for like 3. That's plenty for me for Vegas.
That's
Cat's
because you're
going out there.
it's because you're
Cat's going there for
smart.
a week, but she
Yeah.
stays off the strip with her girlfriend, and they won't even go to the strip. But when Cat comes with me, but 3 days on the strip is plenty. I do enough gambling, enough drinking, no sleeping. Yeah, 3 days is good. And I usually I book my
Okay.
trips usually a week before I go. I just be like, hey, dude, we're going to Vegas next week.
Yeah.
So
Our favorite place is the MGM Grand because they got that big lazy river.
that was where we just stayed here a month or 2 ago.
Well, we go there. We would get there at like, I don't know, noon, float around, get the bartenders to bring us beers in the bucket and stuff, and then you're fine. But then when you stand up out of the water, you're like, it's nap time. Go take a nap, and then you wake up at like 8
Florida,
o'clock.
we
and
get
it's
that
like,
all the time. When I go
Hey,
to Vegas, I go to the
Don,
buddy.
are you making it out that way this year?
Me? Yeah, I'm planning on
Yeah, well,
coming.
you're the only Don on here.
I'm I was
Because
gonna
we're
say,
having a dance competition on Saturday night.
I will
and I don't know
fucking
if I need to
I
have
will
you-
win.
Oh,
I will
Lord.
win the platinum award on that. So I'm
Can you
planning
do a
on
backflip?
Scott, I thought you were gonna let me stay with you.
What, at M-Wave?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can get bunk beds, I'm sure, in our suite.
Oh, you're gonna get a hotel. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't live by M-Wave.
I want to go.
It's an 8-hour drive for Kat and I.
It's in Missouri, right?
16
Missouri,
for me.
right?
Yeah.
Missouri. It's in Missouri, right?
Is it?
Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri.
yeah,
right?
yeah, Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, the tourist destination of the planet.
That's not true. Is it?
Obviously.
Yeah, no, it's not true. But I'm gonna try really hard to go because I really want to go. So I'd say there's a 95% chance I'll be there.
Brian's coming to my house, Don, for Base Brings Us Together. You're not coming. Thanks.
We're
When?
driving.
May
driving.
11th.
When? May?
May 11th.
I only have so many days off, dude.
But can't you do it as like you're writing an article? I mean, that's what you
No,
do.
I mean no, I can't.
You're selling JTR speakers. You're gonna write an article on them. Come to Chicago.
Hey, Easy HT Tech Don says he lived in Tennessee. Come to Texas. Every house in Texas has a home theater. There you go, right up your alley, buddy.
No, they don't.
Everything bigger. Everything's bigger in Texas.
I love Texas. I was just in Dallas for a firearms training thing. I got shoot out of a helicopter just south of Dallas. I love Texas. People are super cool in Texas. road
They've been
sucks.
trying to get us to come down there for a car show for like the past 3 years. It's
Don't
called
drive
Wham.
your cars in Texas. The road sucks.
No, dude, no way. I'd have to have them
Truck 'em.
towed down there, and I got a price for it. It's called Wham. We are Mopar. It's at it's in Fort Worth at the NASCAR track. So you get to drive your
I
car
love
around the
Texas.
NASCAR
One
track.
of my favorite places.
It cost
As
me
long as it's not the summer, because it's
Cost
even
me-
hotter than Florida.
$4,000 to get both cars towed down there and back, and then we got to fly there. So you're talking like to go to a car show to pay $6,000. No,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
good.
your new LCRs, bro.
I'm good. No, it'd be a cool experience, but it's just too expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm not driving those cars from here to
No,
Texas.
no, of
Good
course not.
Lord, what could happen? A lot.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Don
Am I-
Hensley said it's a 20-hour drive for him to M-Wave. Whew. I don't know.
Oh,
He
I wouldn't
he
drive.
might be driving it.
I wouldn't drive there.
Is it only 8 hours
No, 20.
for you?
Oh, for us, yeah, it'll be eight and a half hours.
So,
yeah.
so my
Dude,
boss has a
I'm
farm.
driving 10 and a half hours to your house. I would drive 8, 100%.
I mean, from my house, I drove to go to Power Sound Audio when I had all Power Sound Audio subs. I literally drove from my house, and to go to Power Sound Audio, you have to get into Pennsylvania, turn around on the expressway, and get off on the exit back in Ohio.
You had all power sound?
Yeah, I had 16 of their 18s in my room at one point. Yeah.
What's wrong with PSA, dude? I mean, like, are the speakers bad? Like, what's up? Don, I'm
They
asking.
bought them
Don.
out, dude.
Who? Excuse me. Who bought them out?
They bought them out.
Who's that?
Well, what do you think he switched from PSA to JTR?
Well, at that time, PSA didn't make an ultra low tune sub. I did check out the TV42, which was ported, I think, down to like 13 hertz with the dual 21s. I did drive out there, which was like a 20-hour round trip for me. And I checked out the TV42 before I went with the JTR. And the TV42 played loud with the IPL 21-inch drivers. It played loud. It did play low, but it didn't play as low as the JTR and as vicious in the lowest octaves. So that's why I went with the JTR. But all the Power Sound Audio stuff that I had was like the V3611s, the V3600s. They were all pretty much tuned like 14 or 15 hertz, which was a huge step for me coming from all SVS because I was used to 20 hertz. Then I moved down to 15, and then I got taste of that 10 hertz. So I was just working my way through. Now I know Tom from PSA is designing some other subs that play lower and stuff like that. But for me, for what I was looking for, just the ultra ULF at some scary levels.
I'm just going by Shane Lee reviewed one of their 21s, and it when he played the intro to Tomorrow. What's the movie with Tom Cruise?
Edge of Tomorrow. Live,
Edge
Die,
of
Repeat.
Tomorrow. Yeah, it kind of seemed to bottom out, but whatever.
Now let's be 100% clear because he addressed that when he saw my subs. My subs are not PSA. They do not have port chuff and they do not bottom out. So I don't know anything about PSA, but just because these drivers look like that, 100% I do not get that. And I'll
The
stand
drivers-
firmly.
The drivers in yours are a different driver, and they're
Yeah.
killer. They're really good drivers.
And they got the neodymium magnets. I mean, you know what Eminence is. Don obviously knows.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. I'm very familiar with them as well too. Yeah.
And then obviously they take the best amps, speaker power amps. We all know are like they're good amps. I mean,
Power sound? Power sound?
no, the speaker power amps.
Speaker power. Yeah, they're phenomenal amps. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Jeff used to use those, didn't he?
No, Jeff still uses speaker
Still
power.
using them. Yeah, that's what I have. Yeah, they're great amps.
Yeah, and
I have
on
a-
RTJ subs, they're speaker power.
I have
too,
a
and-
4 times 2400 watt, 2500 watt. Yeah.
Hey, you got
And
the
keep him
you got the
keep in
same
mind
amps I got.
too.
Yeah.
GSG will build somebody whatever they want from. I'm not going to say budget level, but from a decent level to a super high level. I mean, I think they have 50 different enclosures now. They use a lot of. They're starting to use stereo integrity subs, but like the Scott may know, it's the really high end one. It's carbon fiber. Things like the
Yeah.
HTS 18.
Yeah, they do like
24.
HPS. I think they run. Yeah, you can do the 24. A buddy of mine runs 4 of those. He's
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
from Texas. Yeah.
And I mean, they'll do Dayton. I think it's the UM 2218s too for somebody that just doesn't want to spend a butt ton of money on a driver, but
Well,
they have a lot of options.
Yeah, it just all depends on what people are looking for. I mean, some people don't, and still, if you get 4 or 8 UM18s in a room, things can get super crazy real fast.
Oh yeah,
it's just everybody is on such a different journey. I've gone to so many different home theaters that are much better than mine, or that are building that ain't quite where I'm at yet. I just enjoy just hanging out with somebody, having a couple drinks, having a pizza, talking some shit for 4 or 5 hours. And I think it just does the community a lot of good if you just look at it as like a brotherhood of, hey man, we all enjoy kind of the same thing. You do it a different way than I do it. I'm not right, I'm not wrong, and neither are you. I'm just, glad that we share some common interests and we can talk shop with everybody.
And that's it.
I love it, dude. I agree. And talking to different people in the industry, like Joseph, who just commented, getting to meet him and getting to meet different people. Everybody's different. Everybody likes different stuff. I mean, Scott, you remind me of the high SPL guys in the car audio, trying to, which is awesome. I mean, I'm going to add a 21. I got 418s, 412s. I'm going to add a 21. By most standards, that's insane to me. It's like, let's do 221.
That's a good start.
It's a good stage. Exactly.
Yeah, right. He's like, that's a good start.
Talking to this guy, I mean, my system sounds insane, dude.
Yeah.
But my system sounds correct.
But like I tell everybody, the way that I'm doing stuff, not everybody would enjoy. And it's so much money that got spent or time that got spent that for 99% of people is a complete waste of time or a complete waste of money. Because sometimes at the levels that I do a demo or that I enjoy it myself at, a lot of other people don't. And that's fine. It's somebody.
Well, you guys have ported subs. I personally don't want to own any ported subs. I love sealed subs. To me, what I like, they sound better. But that's all relative. You know what I mean? Ported subs might sound better to you guys. I just like sealed.
See, I was in car audio way before home theater.
I was too. I started in Newby before you were born.
Absolutely hated seal subs in a car. Always did ported. I did not.
I did ported subs in my cars too. That way I could get more output for the amount of power I got going to them. But
I mean, I had sealed subs in here. I did 2. I mean, you might not be like, well, they were great. I did 2 SB16s, and within 2 weeks, I sent them back, and I got PB16s, and I like those better.
Yeah, it's about what you like. I like the punch of sealed subs. I like the response and the sound quality. But
and that's the thing. You're not sitting here. You're not
Mm-hmm.
sitting here saying, "Oh, well, you like."
No, not at all, dude. Why would I say that? It's stupid.
Yeah, but it's
and I use them both in 2 completely different systems.
Mm-hmm. How good did your family room sound though with the sealed subs? It sounds good, doesn't it?
Oh, and there's plenty of bass. Would I like them in the theater as much? No, because the Ultra ULF, the 10 hertz port tune. I mean, when you get into that scary low frequency, and you can't stop your teeth from chattering, that was
hard to do with the seal.
Yeah, that was kind of the effect that I was going for with that, and that was. I mean, honestly, if I wanted to get the same effect, I'd have to move from 16 ported to probably
30.
Yeah, 26, 28, 30 sealed subs.
Yeah. I mean, they roll off slower.
Well, they'd actually go deeper. I'd probably play down to 2 or 3.
Sealed subs go real deep.
Yeah,
but you're not getting the output.
Not the output.
What are you talking about? Come to my house.
Well, because I think Jeff measured the RTJs at Gene's place, and they were getting like output up to like 2 or 3 hertz.
Yeah, they were loaded in the room, and they were getting crazy output.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In my room, I don't get that low. In the family room, I think I get like 4 or 5 hertz on the sealed RTJ setup. But it's funny because the 4 sealed 18s are I mean, there's so much bass, especially on a suspended floor. It's absolutely
yeah.
Oh, that's my thing. I'm on a suspended floor, and that's what people don't understand. 421s on a suspended floor is tactile as
for
Yeah, I'm not gonna
anything
sit
on a suspended floor.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we can stand back there sometimes, and my wife was like, "I think I just saw the floor ripple." I was like, "Well, I was standing on it, and it felt like it flexed up and down." On
Yeah, if I do a
concrete,
theater room, it's going to be on a first floor solid foundation.
yep.
Yeah, see,
Well,
I'm
you'd
Like
be on concrete.
transducers, why do you need if you have a suspended floor? Why do you need I just don't like transducers.
I don't
I
have them anymore, but I get like
they've always felt
Scott on
artificial to me.
with Scott on
Artificial.
concrete. It makes sense to have transducers. And
well,
plus,
and I
if you
still
want
get plenty of tactile impact. I mean, because in
Oh,
my
yeah.
room on the ported subs, we roll off pretty hard, like around like 7 hertz. 7 hertz. I'm 3 dB down, so I don't count anything past it. I mean, I get usable output maybe to 6, but I just say this: I got a 7 hertz capable system in there, but I don't need the tactile transducers, but I do a lot of late night viewing because we have a house full of kids.
exactly,
I have a
yeah,
house full of kids, so it's nice that I hit a preset on the mini DSP. It turns the subs down by 15 dB and turns the butt kickers up 10 dB. It's not
and then
ideal.
it's not as loud to everybody else in the house,
Yeah.
but you're
Yeah,
still getting that.
I want to come hear your system, Scott, real bad.
Hey.
Oh, I'm going.
I just love the sound of sealed subs. If
Let me ask
ever I
Scott
could do
this.
subs, I do sealed.
Why now? Just for Scott, why didn't you go with like Crosons? Did you just
Well, no, I tried the Crosons.
okay?
Yeah,
Right.
I try, and the Crosons are very good product too. But when I tried the synthesis, the Clarks. I tried the Clarks.
Yeah, yeah.
And I tried the Crosons, and I tried the butt kicker LFEs, and I tried the butt kicker minis and the advanced. To me, because it's just a purpose-built system to be as violent as possible.
And they take a shitload of power.
Well, the butt kickers
Does
take
it?
1,500 watts each. That's why I bought
Exactly.
a speaker power 6,000 to power all 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they were the most violent. They were just, my whole setup in the theater was be as absolutely as violent and scary as possible.
I can only imagine. I mean,
Well, talking about JTR/RTJ, I've heard and owned. I can't even tell you how many I've owned, and I definitely can't tell you how many I've heard. I've never heard a subwoofer from anybody, anywhere, at any price ever, including super expensive subs. To me, sounded as good as the JTR/RTJ. Period. And
so
I
explain that to me. JTR, RTJ.
Okay, so JTR is the direct to consumer. RTJ is designed for integrators like me to sell.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard some sub. I mean, the per listen the 15 is just insane. It's just the accuracy of them is just is amazing. I don't know anything to say other than amazing. The only thing I've spent time with that is like the RBHs are really good. That their dual 12s are super accurate because they're 212s in a ported, but they're a ported enclosure that's different. The port's about that big on it. It's just ridiculous. So I was able to blend those in with my sealed subs. Which took a little time, but man, dude, I'm telling you, these RTJ/JTRs are just something about the. I mean, the driver that they use is just world class. I mean, the min-max, the excursion on them, the build quality, the transfer of energy from the cabinet. The cabinets are made so well. It's some kind of Russian birch, right? In it, Scott, that he uses some.
Yeah, the Baltic birch. Yeah,
yeah. It's just. I mean, they don't look like much, but Jeff can make them look. They're just amazing. And I still today, after having them for 2 years, I'm just in awe of what the sound quality they produce. And I don't just mean, articulate, low level. I'm talking about slam. So when I'm watching the Ready Player One, and I like to bring people over, Joseph, who's watching, can attest to this. The bass is there when it needs to be, and then it's not. Right? Most ported subs I've heard are always they're loud, but they're sloppy. They're not. But when the bass hits and things need to go loud with the sealed RTJs I have, it just shakes the couch like I have transducers. Then it goes away. It's there.
100% off mine. Like when there's a little bit of bass, I mean, it goes to the room, you feel it, but when the impact needs to come, it's there and then it stops. Now, like I get what you're saying. I've had other subs that were just like a car door could close and it's like what the
Oh yeah,
hell? It was
yeah.
just a car
That's
door
the
closing.
majority of ported subs, honestly.
Yeah.
And
But
I'm speaking what I'd like to say as a pulpit of authority because I've listened to so much stuff as an influencer, as a reviewer, and as also as a professional. I just like the sound. I love the tightness, but you got to use more subs to get the same output, period.
oh yeah.
But the ported JTRs, the way he does his ports and stuff it's pretty damn accurate, man. I have to give him that.
Well, the thing is with Jeff subs, because they're ported so low, is they pretty much the response on them is identical to a sealed sub until you get below 20 hertz, because the port doesn't even start to come in effect till under 20 hertz.
Right. No, I agree. You got to tune these things low to do that. So, and listen, it's not a knock on any brands. I mean,
No.
if I was going to buy SPSs, I would do SBs before I would do PBs. The PBs are loud, but they're just sloppy, dude. I mean, to me, one man sloppy is another man. Yeah, you know what I mean. I love articulate, accurate, punchy.
Can you call a PB16 sloppy though? I mean, I've heard sloppy subs, I'm not. I had SVS. I'm not hating on them.
No, they're great, dude. SVS. I'm in my bedroom system. I have two SP3000s. They're amazing.
I've had
guess
so much SPS here. I've had pair of SVS PB16s. I've had 5 PB2000s. I've had 2 PB3000s, 2 SB3000s. Okay, that's about it. I think that's it.
And people say
that,
the
you got a
3000s.
different level, though. I mean,
and I never had 3000. I skipped from PB 2000 Pros to the PB 16. But people are like the PB 3000 isn't too far off from the 16 for less money. I don't know if that's true because I never.
Yeah, the 16 I believe just went deeper because it was a bigger box.
Yeah, yeah.
See, when I see this is I wouldn't say that I made a mistake with the PB16s because I certainly enjoyed them for the 2 years I kept them. But I went to the launch premiere of the new SVS line when they first released them. And when they were traveling around state to state, they had the SB16s. And I heard them. And I said, man, they're putting out some good output. And they're like, oh, yeah, and the PB has, 3 dB more output at 20 hertz. I said, shit, I'll pre-order them now. They were doing like a little deal if you pre-ordered them. So I bought them sight unseen. And when I got them, I certainly enjoyed them because I had the Clips THX Ultra subs before that were really good 20 hertz and above, but I was really starting to try to push to get below 20. And the PB16s were giving me that. But it was just, I enjoyed them for 2 years. This goes to anybody that has a home theater out there. If you are 100% happy with your home theater and you don't want to spend any more money, don't go listen to anybody else's theater. Because I was perfectly happy with SVS. I went and visited a buddy that had Power Sound Audio. I was like, man, he's playing down to 14 hertz, 18s. We got a lot more output. We're going lower. Sold that. Then I went to Expona in Chicago, and Jeff from JTR had his system set up. I went and did for a couple demos. We're in a huge room, like 40 by 80, and he's just hammering us. That day on the way home, I put up the PSAs for sale, and I ordered all JTR. So it's good to experience other stuff, but the problem, I mean, at least with me, and this is just a fault in my personality, is if I experience something I really like, I can't get it out of my head until I do it.
Yeah, that's what I do with my clients.
I can't let it go.
So I started
I can stop it, so that's good for me in a way.
I can't stop it. So I started in car audio in '87, and it was about SPLs and boom. So everything I had, the last car I had was a 89 240 SX or 90 with 2 Rockford Punch Pro 18s and a ported enclosure. And it would just, I mean, you get in, it was just a visceral experience. It would freak people out.
Well, that was it back in the day, the Rockford stuff.
Well, way back then.
Now it's not.
As I progressed and I got into high-end audio when I first got in this business. So it was all about high-end 2-channel and high-end audio and sound quality. I love output. I love big, tremendous sound, but I like it to be, I love sound quality. So I've owned so many subs. Actually, my favorite subs back in the day for years were M&K MX 350s, which were a push pull. And I think Dan Romer of Perlisten is the one that designed them. It was a push pull design like they use now in their Perlistens, and I love those, man, because they were loud and they were tight. And I always used to have two subs back in the day, even before we understood what two subs really did. But now I've just literally hundreds of different subs, every kind, make and model, from crazy, like the Krell made one that was all aluminum for like $35,000 back in the day, had 215s in it. I've heard isobaric. I've heard every kind of design. I personally, and it doesn't mean it's right or wrong, and I don't knock anybody, I personally prefer sealed subs.
And there's a lot of guys that say that. There's guys that like boards,
I just
guys
do myself.
that like seal. That's fine.
So hey Don, I was young and I obviously didn't have the money for it because I had to be maybe like 12, 13, 14 years old. I'm 40 now. So we're talking, some years ago. But Valadyne came out with a sub that had an 18 and a 12 in it.
They did that. First of all, they made one called the ULD, which would look like a coffee table and was a downward firing 15. And I had one with an outboard amp. So years ago in like 2008, I had two Velodyne DD18s, digital drive 18s. And at that point in my life, that was like the best bass I'd ever heard, with the servo motors in them. Yeah. And then I sold those, and then I bought a sub from, believe it or not, DefTech. And I know you don't necessarily think of subs when you think of DefTech.
Like a Trinity or something.
Yeah, I had a Trinity.
Okay.
They made one called the Trinity. And dude, that MFer was a monster, dude. It had two 15-inch drivers and four 15-inch passive radiators in it with like a 3,000 watt amp. And it was
they called it the Trinity because they built it for the Trinity Church to play
in New York. Yeah, they put like 10 of them in there to supplement the pipe organs.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Yep. I experienced that sub in person and read the story on it. It was an unbelievable story.
It was a monster. And I sold it. I had to sell it in 2012, and I regret it to this day. It was huge too. It was like 300. Wasn't as big as yours, Brian, but it was like 300 pounds. It was huge. So I mean, I've had just tons of different subs.
Back in the day, Mirage made some good stuff too.
They did before Klipsch bought them and just destroyed them. The evil empire.
It was probably 5 years ago. I picked up an old Mirage sub on.
They were.
Dude, it was like this big. It had 212s.
They had two drivers on them. Yeah, they were really good.
I'll tell you what, I had it in a little basement theater room in my old house, and you could watch the canvas prints ripple on the wall. The thing hit so hard.
Oh, they were killer. So there's a lot of companies that make great subs. Paradigm makes really good subs, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Who makes a great sub is Martin Logan. One has one called the Power Force.
Yeah, the 212 Power Force.
Yeah, that sub, dude. Let me tell you, is if you've never heard a more accurate sub in your life, they're phenomenal. But until I got into the, larger, because listen, the reality was the DD18 was the king of the big subs back in the day.
Mm-hmm. There was only sub giving you like 16, 17 hertz.
Yeah, it was the most accurate. I mean, dude, I had two of those, and I had Energy Veritas 2.4 eyes, and that was a killer system. But
I remember, Don, on those DD18s, they had a RCA composite video out for the on-screen graphics.
Yes, sir. They
Lord.
did. Yep, they had a microphone too.
Some S video?
No, it wasn't even S video. It was just an old video out.
Oh, there's the green, blue, and red composite.
No, chrominance and luminance. S video separated. You had composite, and you had S video, which separated chrominance and luminance. Yep. Which is a color in the black and white.
Yeah, wire for a little while. It went crazy.
There's all kind. I've been through every aspect and every gambit and every new technology, but now we're in a renaissance. As I said many times, the subwoofers you can get now are just monsters, dude. And you really got to ask yourself, what are you looking for? Like, I'm going to add this 21 at some point this year for the infrasonic, but dude, I could live the rest of my life and be completely happy with the sound I get from the JTR/RTJ subs. Jeff is a genius, man. You get a couple of drinks in that guy, dude, and he'll start busting out some knowledge on you. He really is. It just because they look like something you would take on tour of Metallica. That's where they differentiate, where other subs focus on pretty cabinets and stuff. But that driver he uses in that is a world beater. It's hard. There's few drivers in the planet that can match the driver that Jeff
When Matthew Post told me that that's one of the best constructed drivers he's ever seen.
Period.
And that dude has seen some nice stuff.
Yeah, he's got the same subs I do. He's got 4 RTJs like you do, Scott.
Yeah.
Same exact.
Well, that's why we put him in the living room. If we were going to do a system in that room, we just want it to be the best of the best in that room.
And so I've got these big RBH towers. I've got the subs, the bottom module. I've got an RBH 2400 or 2500 watt channel amp running those, and then 600 watt channel amp running the high part. And just without even the 18s on that thing will just blow you out, dude. It's just unbelievable. I can't even imagine what your room sounds like. I can because I was a car audio guy, and I'm excited to hear it. But I just don't want anybody watching or listening that has a pair of Clips 12s or whatever to feel like they're missing the boat. Because I mean, if you like what you hear, you like what you have in your system, enjoy it.
That's it. That's the key right there.
I tell every single person, because I get messages. I just looked at my phone now. I got 13 messages. I don't know, from people that have been watching either this show or Me and Cat show. I tell everybody the same exact thing. If you're enjoying yourself, yeah.
Wow.
Because it's funny.
I message him. I message him like every day, probably. Nah.
I lay in bed.
No.
Cat goes, who you messaging? And I just show her my phone, like, I don't know, responding to the 10, 12 messages I got today. But I tell everybody the same thing. If you're enjoying yourself, then you're doing the hobby justice.
Scott responds. Scott responds, though. Don doesn't respond when I text him. He just
because I'm busy.
He don't like me.
Oh, shut up.
He's busy dancing. He's got to make those VHS to make the, he's got bills to pay. And those submarine noises for red.
Man, I got 5 kids to feed. But understand I've been working in this business a long time and worked and progressed to get where I'm at as far as equipment. I just love it, man. I don't knock anybody. So, another sub I love too, it never gets any love anymore, is JL Audio. I've had multiple JL Audio subs.
Ooh, that's up there, boy.
Yeah, but let me tell you, dude, that's a killer brand.
Let me tell you, I did those in my Mustang and my SRT4 back in the day. I had the W7s. Those would literally flex your trunk and pop the trunk lid off. Yeah, the jail. It was a 12W7 or 13.
The research.
Those things were like
manufacturing
80 pounds. Oh yeah, they do good. I'll give them.
Yeah,
jail. Yeah.
Killer.
What's that sub called? The Gotham?
Yeah, that's
I did with the Gotham with the dual 13s. Yeah.
Dual 13 and a half. Yeah. It's really expensive. I mean,
yeah.
My 418s would kick that in the nuts and smack it around.
Like there was that Youth Man did a tour of a guy's theater room. I don't remember the guy's name, but he built his own subs that look like the Gotham subs. And he used stereo integrity.
Yeah.
Drivers. I'm gonna have to find that video. But
I think Anthony Gramani uses jail subs when he does his custom theater subs. I mean, you can't knock jail audio. It's just they won't make anything bigger than a 13 and a half.
Now, have you heard of Gramani speakers?
What's that?
Have you heard of Gramani?
Yes.
I bet you they're crazy.
They're insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
Tony's the man.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, JL, don't discount them. They're just expensive. But as far as architectural subwoofers, meaning in the wall or in the ceiling, I haven't heard they're equal. There is no equal to them right now. I mean,
is that the one you were telling me about that kind of hangs from like the rod and?
Yeah, so they're in wall. They're 13 inch.
Yeah.
So you have to do it at when the walls are down, and it's
it
the cabinet.
Touch.
They make it in a taller version with a 4-inch depth or 3 and 3/4, or a little bit thicker with shorter. And you put a metal bar across in the stud wall, and it's got a big metal thread that comes down, and the sub literally hangs. Then you put
exactly the one.
Put this material in between the side of it and the stud wall. They're like 12 3/4 or whatever. And then when you put the drywall up, they've got strips of material that go on the front of the sub. So when you put the drywall on, it decouples it really well. Even their 8 in ceiling / in wall is like a 12. I mean, they're now companies like RBH, and even SVS has one now, are starting.
Yeah.
RBH has got a dual 12 like Matt uses. That's great. But the engineering that went into these JLS audio subs, I mean, Gene Delasala's got 2 in his family room with his per listens. They're really phenomenal subs. I did 4 of them in a big theater because that was all I could do. It was the third biggest house ever built in America. And that theater sounded great. I mean, they're really phenomenal products. So you don't buy into everything we're saying. There's a bunch of great subs out there, guys.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I'm a huge, and he's taking care of me. Customer
GSG,
service is fantastic. I'm a huge advocate of
They're
GSG.
great people, dude, and great.
And
products.
I'm not saying, oh, well, I don't like JTR because I like GSG. I like all companies, but for me, as with Scott, he's diehard JTR. I'm diehard GSG. We're not going to butt heads because of that. They both make fantastic subs. Scott's down there in subterranean.
Yeah, Scott's the king of bass. He's the king of bass.
Blow your
Although
butthole through
there's
your
some big
eyeballs,
installs,
face.
like Ryan's install is going to be. I mean, I've got $80,000 worth of Ascendo in my show, sitting in my warehouse. 24 infrasonic and I think a pair of 18s. Dude, Ascendo makes great subs. They're killer.
I mean, I'm at 13 hertz. Scott would probably come here and be like,
Yeah, but
when's the bass gonna hit?
no, it's funny too because I was perfectly happy in the 20s, and you know what I honestly what I think it is you get used to what you have, so you look for something a little bit more extreme, something a little different, and that's kind of just how I ended up where I was because like I said, my first memories of a kid is centered around stereo equipment. So, for 30 plus years, that's all. And this actually brings up a good point for Paul. He said his room is 21 feet wide by 25 feet deep with 14-foot vaulted ceilings. He'd like to know whether JTR, the RS2, would be a better choice than RS1.
Hey, big guy. Hey, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
Paul,
that's Tubby. That's Tubby chicken.
Hey,
I would
Tubby.
definitely say the RS2. That's a big space, and I'd spend the extra $1,400 to have that extra 18 and that extra power. No doubt in that big of space. I mean, in that big of space, I would like to see 2 RS2s, to be honest with you. But definitely start with the one, because that's a nice size space for just one single sealed 18. I would definitely do the RS2 because it's $1,300 or $1,400 more. It gives you almost twice the power and another driver. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah. So even if you got to go smaller, multi-sub is a way to go. I cannot stress enough to everybody, do 2 subs if you can. Or
yeah, he just said he's going to do 2. So two RS2s in that space would be nice.
And here she comes again.
Aw.
Okay.
You love her. He's a good boy.
Daddy.
Boy or girl?
Daddy. Get her.
She's a girl.
She girl, good girl. She's a sweet girl.
That's my American bully.
I love dogs. Yeah, man. Listen,
monster.
I don't want to be that pretentious prick that says, "Oh, you got to have this or that." Dude, even SBS makes great stuff. They really do. Like, I can't say a bad thing about them. I really can't. They make really good subs. I love their on screen, their little app. I mean, they got a lot of flexibility. They know how to produce bass. They're new towers, dude.
But good Lord,
God, I don't think I've ever heard a tower that size put out.
Don't go on their Facebook group and try to be friends with people that own SBS subs. They'll just crucify you. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to be friendly. I'm just trying to be friendly and share my.
They don't crucify me.
So Don, you got to hear where was that, the Florida Expo?
Florida Audio Expo, yeah. I was thoroughly impressed. Like SVA said, all of our previous speakers were our first attempt. These are, they look like my focals. They're
So
time
should I
along
get
camera.
those? Should I
Dude,
get those?
Well, they got a 1-inch tweeter, so how loud are you going to play it?
Say, look at him. He's like, these things sound awesome, but
Well-
never mind. You
well-
can't have those.
Sounding awesome and playing at retarded levels is two different things.
But I don't need that, dude. I did it one time and blew my shit up, and now you're like, you need the giant speakers. No, I was
Well,
super
everybody's told
ripped.
you need bigger. You got like
Oh,
Bose satellites compared to your subs. You need
no, come on, man. This guy, he gets the shit started. He gets the shit started on Facebook groups because I'll make a post and people are like, oh, that's great, and he'll come in and go, your speakers are tiny. And
They
then
are tiny.
he just sets them off. He just sets them all off.
Look, you don't have to have a big unit to please a woman, but it sure is more impressive. You're like, excuse me while I whip this out. Come on.
No, I don't have that problem, so that's cool.
Oh,
Anyway.
nobody.
Yeah, no. I'll just leave.
Beautiful girl like you doing in a place like this. You were my woman, I would make love to you constantly.
Oh
Hey,
boy.
it's my day off. No, listen, man. Enjoy what you have, dude. Seriously. Look, I got tons of people we put Sonos
Well-
systems in for, and they're like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. I'm like, glad you like it.
I've had multiple people here, and they're like, they just go, oh, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
I just went too far, and then
Dude, you got
go
21
to-
inch subs. How bad can it be? You just need LCRs to keep up with it. Seriously, that's no big
So
deal.
they're keeping up, but as we can probably all agree, I could probably
When
turn
you
them up
get bigger
louder if
LCRs,
yeah.
when you get bigger LCRs, I'm gonna be expecting the text going, dude, you're so right.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but chill out, dude. They're not
I'm
like
chill as fuck, dude. What are you talking about? That is chill.
they're not terrible speakers. They get
No.
loud. I went too loud and blew my tweeters. Scott's blown tweeters too. So
No, he hasn't.
yes, he had. Not in the JTRs, but he blew the shit out of tweeters.
Oh,
and
with the clips, yeah. But that's
I've
apples
heard
and
the
oranges,
stories.
dude.
He's like, I just had a whole box of tweeters in the back.
When I sold them, they went with like 4 or 5 brand new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure he didn't blow tweeters every week. It's just occasionally he
None of us really should listen.
got
that
crazy with the thumb with the volume button. He's like, well, shit. Yeah, there goes another tweeter. And this is my first. I've never blown a speaker in my entire life, so I'm kind of hurt right now.
Never?
Never. I've never blown any speaker,
Even car audio?
even in a no.
Hmm.
And this is the first set of tweeters I've ever blown, and it kind of ruined my life. I mean, I'm a little upset.
I could tell you're not smiling as much as you normally do.
No, dude,
No,
this shit is fucking with my head. Oh shit!
Stop.
Delete.
dude.
Edit that out. When
Nah,
I do
dude,
my own
you're good.
videos, I'm very. I don't say any curse words.
I
but
just want people
Oh,
to
no,
get in a home theater.
We're way past that in this episode. Don't worry about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we demonetized him. And
Yeah,
an
we
hour
were
and a half.
demonetized in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's-
I'm just-
This
just
episode
saying,
won't
dude.
buy me a bottle of alcohol. I have to take it out of my own pocket.
oh, so if you say bad words on YouTube, do they punish you?
They're
Yeah,
not happy.
depending on what you say. Yeah, but I mean, I don't. I mean,
I mean, I always list my stuff. I almost said the S word as not for kids. You just click on not for children.
yeah, but then the commercials can decide though if they want to like book with you or not. To put commercials on your ads. So just the more friendly, family orientated you are, the more chances are you're getting better return rate
Yeah,
on
youth
your
man.
commercials.
Yeah. I've done this for a lot of years, and I got a lot of people like, I got a foul mouth. What an idiot. And what a prick. And blah, blah, blah. Then I got people who love me because I'm real. I'm always going to be real. Always going to plain speak with people. I'm not going to be.
I'm not here for the money.
Yeah,
We make a few
tasty.
bucks.
I'm gonna tell him he said that.
It pays to run the channel,
Right.
but yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not.
I don't give it.
completely
I
rude,
say what's on my mind.
It's all the trolls that come on and want to just, the guys live in their mom's basement that have Bose speakers, whatever, dude, shut up. I'm not here to flex nuts. I'm just here to I want more people to be into this hobby because it's cool. And no matter what you have, imagine you got nothing and you get like a little satellite system and a 5.1 or an Atmos or something. You're like, oh my God, what a great experience that is. And some people just don't care. I mean, we've taken it to the extreme because that's what we do. It's fun and it's a great hobby and there's great people in it. But no matter what you have or what you do, there's always some idiot be like, you have to put all your speakers behind the screen or it's going to sound terrible, or whatever. They just don't know. They just don't know.
I just did an episode here a couple of days ago where I was like, you don't have to be a millionaire to enjoy this hobby. Just moving away from your TV speakers and most sound bars. Once you get a good center that you can hear people whispering and
Did you just moon me? No.
That's for your OnlyFans account later, Brian. After you get off of this,
like Joseph just said, Canto.
I enjoyed it, but it's fine.
You know, Canto. They make like little powered speakers, like for.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Canto sent me some of their new Auras because I heard them at the Audioholics audio show. These things are like $350 a pair. They sound great. I mean, they really sound good. Like. I don't know, man. Just enjoy what you got to do. You don't have to spend $1 million. And if it takes to you and it becomes something that you really are into, then start building it. But going on forums and groups is going to drive you crazy because everybody's going to tell you a bunch of BS,
Oh yeah. I started out with Sony towers. Come on, man.
Sony?
I think I got them at like Best Buy. I was like 22. I had my first house. Bought some Sony towers and a Sony center for like $400, and I think it was an Onkyo receiver. I don't remember that, and I thought it was holy crap. This is like being at the movie theater. I thought it was great at the time. So I'm with you. If you sit down, you watch a movie, and you're like, this sounds fantastic, then just like it, just enjoy it. You don't have to watch us and be like, oh, you have to go out and buy 17 million 18s, 421s, whatever Dunn has, speakers that are 9 feet tall to stick out of the roof. You don't need all that. It's just buy what you like and enjoy what sounds good to you. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it.
All right, guys, we're getting about 2 hours in. It's midnight for you guys right now.
Just give me the middle finger. Look at this.
What kind of people are you hanging out with over there, Brian?
My wife.
Your wife sounds super cool.
Did you just break the chair?
I don't know if anybody's cool as Kat, but
Kat's probably upstairs underneath her blankie right now.
Is she?
Yeah, that's what this one's doing.
Is she underneath your blankie?
She's managing the head.
Head of state, head of the household.
So Don, before we wrap this episode up, we got a question. Those GSG 21s are low inductance capable of over 120 dB in mid-bass frequencies. Can someone explain why Don is saying Brian needs some 10s? I think he's talking about
I don't think he needs 10s. I just think if you have a little bit bigger LCRs, that would do that handoff to the mid-bass. I'm sure they're able. I mean, what is capable of 120 dBs mean in sound quality?
Sound damn good to me.
I mean, that handoff, you think a 21 is going to be as articulate at 100 hertz or 120 hertz as a LCR with 2/8, like maybe those golds.
But don't they get crossed over at 80 hertz? Like, I don't know what Scott has his crossed over to. Yours crossed over lower than 80?
Yeah, that's true. But so the silvers that you have, how loud and how articulate are they going to play at 80 that crossover frequency, right?
Well, I'm not going 120 dB with those.
I know what you're saying, but even at 80, as they get down to the lower frequencies, are they going to play that with the kind of output to match those speakers? You need something that's going to match the output, and you can calibrate a lot of that away for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that something that's going to blend, have a little more authority blending at that, what we call that transitional frequencies. Anything around 100 hertz. Some people call it up to 120. That's where the sound starts to become less directional and more omnidirectional. Having something that has the output and authority, like a dual 8, like a triad, using a triad silver, because that's what you're looking at, has 2 8s and a mid-range and a tweeter, is going to be a little bit better able to match those 21s at those transitional frequencies, right? You're going from a little bit, no offense, but a smaller speaker that's only going to have a certain amount of output at those frequencies to that 21. You're really going to have to work to blend those a little bit more. I think that you'd be better off doing that, is what I'm saying. He doesn't need 10s necessarily. Just need something that's going to be able to hand off. Like, like Scott, what do you cross your subs over, 80?
No, I think I'm crossing at 90.
Okay, 90. So
yeah, it calibrated better when I did
your
it.
LCRs and your LCRs are capable of a pretty tremendous amount of output there, so it'd be a little bit easier to blend those two speakers and those frequencies. That makes sense?
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Well, I see it even more in the RTJ setup, because with having the 8 10s, trying to blend them with 4 18s, I mean, it's a seamless interaction. I can do whatever I want at any frequency just because everything's so capable. But I mean, I wouldn't mix like 18s, 21, 24.
That's true. Well, you're mistaken.
With with like a super, because if you're pushing a smaller speaker past its limitations or close to its limitations, you're going to tell that it's strained for sure. Because I ran into that issue a lot when I had the Clips THX Ultras. They were 6.5-inch drivers, and I was pairing them up with 5 SVS subs and then PSA 18-inch subs. Is you could tell, as well, because I listened at higher levels, is that the subs weren't really having an issue, but the mains were certainly starting to have an issue at more
at transitional frequency, matching them up so you get that full blend of sound.
Well, yeah, because the mids and highs would pretty much stop, or I knew I would blow another tweeter, and then the subs are just loafing along. So I was pretty much just limited, by what my left and rights could do. So that's kind of why I just approach it from a different,
I mean, I've done smaller satellite speakers with bigger subs in the past. It really depends on your setup. If you got a pair of 12s or 10s or whatever, it's not such a big deal. But when you're going from 2 5.25 and a 1-inch tweeter to 21-inch subs, there's a pretty big discrepancy on the output, and you really got to tone down those subs to match those. But if you have higher output LCRs that'll play comfortably down, say they roll off at 50, right, and you cross them over at 80, they're still within their boundary and they can still play. And it's you got a lot of output to match a lot of output. So you got if you got tiny speakers, you got a minimal amount of output and a lot of output, and you got to really try to blend those together. That's always been my mantra on trying to do these things. And I know in my system it works really well.
He says, I forgot JTR's best tower speakers only have 8s, right? The cheap ones have 15s. I don't know where he's getting that from. I mean, the RTJ towers were built with
cheap ones have 15s.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the RTJs, they got 10s in them, but the way they configure the 10s is to do the full coverage of the horn.
Well, the horn plays mid-range and tweeter. It's kind of a combo unit. Then the 10s are kind of a support mid-range to that. Is that correct?
Oh, no. Yeah, he just said it's a joke. Yeah, okay, because oh,
okay.
Well, see, at first I didn't take it as a joke because I get a lot of people messaging me. They don't understand why they did 10s. They didn't understand that you got a coverage with the horn and the way the dispersion is. It all makes sense.
Well, Jeff's horn's the combo mid-range tweeter, correct?
Well, yeah, with compression driver. But yeah, the woofers had to cover the
gap between the gap between where they kind of start to roll off, and the 10s supplement that, and they create a great transition into the 18s. Yeah. So you're really covering the full range of sound. I think those mid modules that you have are 3-ways, right?
And the reason why he made those horns so big, obviously, is he said he was able to extend the horn hurt so low that it's such a smooth transitions from low to mid to highs, that it's pretty much like a seamless.
And that's kind of my point. When you buy a big tower speaker, you have tweeters, and you have mid range, and then that blends into the woofer. So they have those mid ranges so that that blend between the mid range and the woofer that's playing at lower frequencies is super critical. And like in your system, Brian, you've got these, great, incredible speakers. They're just not real big speakers. And they're, there's no replacement for displacement. So it's hard to really take those and transition even at 80 hertz or 100 hertz or whatever. If I had those, I'd probably cross them over at 120 or 100 versus 80.
So you're saying I should have kept the SBS Ultra Towers?
What?
So
All right, put the drink down, dude.
the SBS Ultra Towers would have been better than doing the triads?
Look, man, nobody puts baby in a corner. They play lower, they probably would have blended better. But I don't know if the sound quality would have been the same.
Well, it was not. But I guess you're right. They would have went lower.
Like when I had my car audio, I would have tweeters around, and I would have like 3.5-inch drivers because it was really mandated by the car what it would take. And I would have 6.5s to kind of have that blend of, high frequencies, higher mid-range frequencies, lower mid-range frequencies than the bass. And that would all blend together to make a cohesive sound is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because I have 10 6.5s in my car, 8 4-inch tweeters, and then 2 12s.
I mean, you're going from your mids and highs here to this massive subwoofer, you know what I mean? Even though it's articulate and capable of playing in the higher frequencies, but the output of your LCRs is going to be maxed out just to try to kind of match those.
Oh yeah, if I run these, I tried to run these subwoofers,
bigger LCRs or towers, they're gonna have a smoother transition because they're gonna have more output in those transitional frequencies to that.
I mean, these things are barely moving now, and they're rocking the room. If I
they're
had bigger LCRs, I get what you're saying. I could turn them up more and have them even put out more.
Right. So if you do like the Triad Golds, which are amazing speakers, then they got 2 8s and either I think it's a 5 1/4 or 4-inch or something mid range and a tweeter. They're going to play a lot. They're going to have a lot more output at the transitional frequencies from 120 to 80, and it's going to be easier for you or your calibrator, who I hear he's amazing. I haven't met him yet, but I hear he's phenomenal. It's going to be easier for him to blend those instead of going from this to this. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
So basically, I just went leg day full ass. Like my legs are good. I just need to get the upper body.
Man, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Stop putting me in a corner.
I got the leg day out here, but I need to get the upper body a little bit more.
You'll get that, dude. You got 421, dude. You're a pimp. So just get you some big LCRs, and as far as your sides and surrounds, you don't need to change those because
thank God.
They have limited amount of. Now Shane Lee wants to argue with me, and look, in a perfect world with no budget, have all full range speakers all the way around. It'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But there's not. I mean, there's not that much low frequency necessarily.
Me and Scott.
Maybe in your bass layer, there's more, but in the Atmos, I don't think you're really going to notice that big a deal on it. To be honest with you,
me, and Scott are going to be talking about what is Ace of Base's new LCR going to be. This will be in a private conversation, not here.
You couldn't go wrong with the JTRs. If you want something that you can grow into and add 10 more subs, they're gonna have the output, the dynamics to match those subs. Does that make sense?
Being as I talk to Scott on a regular basis, then you're probably correct. I'll probably be adding
or RBHs or per listens or whatever you decide.
I mean, the next picture you'll see is these 21s that are behind me. They'll be stacked to the ceiling. Who cares? Just do it. Blow the windows out. Yeah.
Yep.
Levitate yourself off the seat.
Scott, I like the people that you got coming on your channel. There's not so many trolls unless they're trolling you.
No, I don't get. I think people know I don't put up with that. I mean, I just block them or whatever. Yeah, I don't. Oh, I guess Brian had enough of your shit, Don.
My shit, yeah, enough of your shit.
I didn't call speakers little.
I did. I'm just busting his chops.
Yeah.
Look, you know as well as I do, you can't put a little 5 1/4 dual LCR before you can, but if you're gonna you're going to play at prestigious levels. And if you got 421s, you want to play at prestigious
Well,
levels.
yeah, and that's where him and I've chatted a lot behind the scenes. I said, with 221s, that's one thing, but if you're moving to 4 and you're talking about going to 6 or 8, then you can't tell me that you don't plan on listening loud, or what was the point of, of getting all. I mean, I can understand getting 4 for even coverage and stuff like that, but you're not doing 421s if you're not planning on listening loud in a smaller room. So I just, I said, I get it, you want to stick with all brand, maybe look at the golds or the platinums of Triad. I've heard nothing good, nothing but good things about Triad.
They're
or
great.
you move up to something that has, some more outputs. I told him the same thing, horn, ribbon, tweeters, just capable.
I mean,
more output.
there's certain advantages to like the silvers, like he has the smaller speakers. If you're listening to 2-channel with great subs, I mean, it's hard to beat a really good LCR. Like Joseph said, something with the MTM, like Diapolito, because of the sound stage is ginormous. It takes more tweaking to get a tower to sound like that. But if you're going to crank out demos and you're having drinks and you got people coming over and you got 4 21-inch subs, you're going to put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
You need something that's going to keep up. You know that.
All right, man. All right, Don. Well, it looks like he's gone. We've been on here for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think. I think we'll wrap this up. I certainly appreciate you coming on here and hanging out with me, buddy. And
I'm just here. I'm just here for the cat. Isn't there, buddy?
I'll talk to Joseph, and maybe in, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks, if you want to hop on with me and Joseph, maybe we'll get on here and talk. We talk about the audio shows and stuff like that. Talk about some work he's done.
Yeah, Joseph's super cool, and he's got a lot of insights. I just hope we don't offend anybody talking about the big monster stuff. That most people can't afford or don't want to spend the money on. It's just we like our sound the way I like big ginormous. I like my system to sound like a full tilt Dolby Cinema. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you do.
Well, I got a lot of friends in this hobby just like you do too, and I believe part of it is some people just don't care to have that experience.
And that's cool.
And a lot of people have a lot better place to put those funds, like kids in college or
of course,
just
100%.
Yeah. So hey, man, I just want to come hang out. I don't really care what you have. We can talk shop. Let's have a couple drinks. Let's just enjoy ourselves, because we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, amen to that, brother.
So
we need to do a Vegas trip with couples trip here soon.
Hey, man, don't threaten me with a good time.
I'll introduce you to Chi-Chi at the Bunny Ranch.
All right, buddy. Let's wrap this up, and then when I talk, I'll reach out to Joseph here in the next couple of days, and I'll shoot you a date, maybe the end of the month. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good insights and knowledge, man.
All right, cool. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Don. Man, I appreciate it. I didn't mean to take up 2 hours and 15 minutes of your time tonight, brother.
Dude, I love hanging out with my peeps, man. Brian's cool. You're cool. The people, commenting are cool. I mean, dude, it's nice to be able to talk about audio, just kind of let our hair down and have a couple drinks and just chill out. You know what I mean? About talking about speakers. I'm sure Mike's got big speakers.
All right, man. To everybody in the chat, and to all the community, our Patreon members, our subscribers, everybody that just shows any support to our channel, Kate and I greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon. Don, have a good weekend, man. I'm sure I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
All right, peace out, brother.
Later.